Oh, now. That's a pretty trick right there.
Well, left-handed. You got that slant when you're left-handed. As Joey Logano signs the pole-winning board. Fourth pole this season leads all drivers. That's the first of 3 things you need to know. Team Penske. Joey and Brad in the front 4 for tomorrow night's race. And in his first Sprint Cup qualifying session, Eric Jones makes it into the top dozen. And to round 3, the final round. He is now getting ready to start from the pole in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in his number 4 truck, where he'll square off against series champion Matt Crafton. And that is all coming up next. John Roberts has the setup for you next year on Fox Sports 1.
Remember that race when they had the synchronized spinning here?
Ron Hornaday and Johnny Sauter.
I mean, yeah, they just went up the track side by side, didn't hit anything, came back, and I think Sauter ended up winning the race.
And that black truck there starting 4th, that's Ryan Newman driving for Joe Nemechek in that 8 truck.
14 different winners in 14 Kansas truck races.
And these guys get busy after this weekend. I think they run like the next 6 out of 7 weekends.
And 18 drivers in this field will be making their very first Kansas start on a very fast racetrack.
And those 2 blue trucks back there, which belong to Brad Keselowski, got into each other in qualifying, both in backup trucks.
Think about back to Bristol when Brad spun off the turn 4 and collected his teammate, Joey Logano. Same thing happened today, except this time Brad's going to have to pay for it.
Yes.
So off to the media center go the front row to complete their obligations for the day, while we turn our attention to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Joey Logano, your pole winner for tomorrow night. The setup with John Roberts is coming up next. We'll see you for the race right here on Fox Sports 1 tomorrow night.
It is back to business for the Camping World Truck Series, and Kansas is the place for race number 4 of the season. So let's get set up for Truck Series racing in America's heartland.
Looking at his first win. Buescher is going to win in Kansas. Oh, my both of them sideways. Hornaday goes around. Kyle Busch is going to win in Kansas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Camping World Truck Series Setup Show. I'm John Roberts, alongside of 2-time Truck Series champion Todd Bodine. And Todd, we have a very fast racetrack and 250 miles to see who's fastest.
Kansas is very intimidating in a truck. You have to run wide open to go fast. To run wide open, you got to be on the free side. We see here in qualifying, we had some problems. It's tough to run fast at Kansas.
Let's take a look at just how tough this track can be as we look at the qualifying. Teammates had trouble. Tyler Reddick and Austin Terrio wreck, and that was bad for BK Racing.
Brad Keselowski's worst nightmare. Got up in the gray. Along comes his teammate, Austin Terrio, right in the front, ruined both trucks. That's tough on the car owner.
Nothing you can really do right there, as there was nowhere to go. We see a couple of wrecked up race trucks, and they had to go to backups. They'll start back in the field, but then when we got back to qualifying, Todd, we had a little issue on pit road.
This whole qualifying deal's got everybody out of shape here. The end of pit road's like a traffic jam. Everybody wants to check up. Nobody wants to be the first one to go. Here we ended up somebody in the grass because they all didn't want to get off pit road.
Now, this should come as no surprise. Eric Jones takes the pole with a record-setting time. Hermie Sadler, though, has more on the guys that are going to have to go from the back of the pack to the front tonight. Hermie?
A little bit of a setback for your teams in qualifying. First of all, what happened, and what is your strategy to try to make it from your 22nd starting position to get back up front?
Well, we will be starting 22nd when we roll off, but I'm going to have to fall back to the tail since we went to a backup truck, both me and the 29. So we've got our works cut out for us, but luckily we chose a long race to do this on. We got 167 laps. It was better this weekend than next, for sure, with only 130 at Charlotte. So we got a lot of laps on our side, and we have 2 very good backup trucks for sure. Austin tested this truck, and I've got a lot of good races in this truck as well. So if we just take care of our stuff and stay out of trouble and be there at the end of the race, I think we're going to have a good shot, regardless.
A lot of speed at this racetrack. Where can you pass at this racetrack?
Well, Really, the outside groove is where I like to be. But between cup practice and our qualifying, they never went out there and blew the track off. So there was a lot of rubber buildup out there that I did not know about. That was just my bad. I should have been more aware what was going on. But I'm sure they're going to blow the track off before we go race. So the upper grooves are going to be more forgiving. But still, it's going to take a while for our rubber to get built into the racetrack and it to really widen out. So hopefully I can make use of those upper grooves. If not, we'll just have to work our way on the bottom and just dig hard and make the right decisions. And remember, it's a 167-lap race, and we just got to take care of our stuff.
That's Tyler Reddick, JR, winner at Daytona. 3 top 5s to start the season. He wants to keep that streak going tonight here at Kansas.
Hermie, thank you very much. And Todd, let's take a look at the first 4 rows of the grid, and we see our 4th different pole sitter in as many races this season.
And Matt Crafton, who has struggled with this new qualifying all year, they finally got it right, got a great run, ended up in 2nd.
Check out Daniel Hemrick in 6th, makes his best career start as well. So let's now get you up to speed with some news and notes on what a few drivers were doing during their time between races. Matt Crafton went off-road racing. He took part in the Torque season opener in Fort Worth, Texas. He fell back after suffering some differential issues. And then in late April, Timothy Peters won a wild race at South Boston Speedway in Virginia. Peters outdueled the field in the 8th annual Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. And Eric Jones unexpectedly found himself behind the wheel of Denny Hamlin's Sprint Cup car at Bristol. Jones was called in after Denny began to suffer neck spasms. Now, Eric Jones is running for the championship in the trucks this season, but an unforeseen set of circumstances has put him in a high-profile ride for his Sprint Cup debut this weekend. Jones will drive the number 18 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota starting this weekend until Kyle Busch is able to return to racing. While Jones filled in for Denny Hamlin in Bristol, this is his first full-time weekend and his official Cup debut. He was fastest in happy hour practice earlier today, and Vince Welch has more.
Well, what an impressive debut it has been for Eric Jones, getting the start, as you mentioned, JR, in the 18 this weekend. Fastest in happy hour, qualified at 12th. Congratulations. What a day it's been on the pole for the truck race. How has the double duty impacted you, pro or con, as you prepare in the readiness for this truck race tonight?
For me, it's really been all pros. I was able to kind of take some of the things from the Cup car and really helped out on this side. So it's pretty cool to see the differences. It's cool to be in both races this weekend. I think we all love being able to run double duty, and anytime we get to be in the seat as much as this weekend is a pretty cool experience.
What is, you said you've been able to take some things from the Cup car. What are a couple of examples?
Well, they're so much faster around here than these trucks. So when you get back in the truck, honestly, it feels so slow that it makes it easier. It seems like everything's just kind of in slow motion. You got much more time to think, and that's always a bonus as a driver. So, it'll be a fun race tonight. Be nice to Toyota's getting involved, sponsoring the race. Hopefully we can get a win for them. But it's just going to be a fun race. I'm excited to get it going.
You've won 4 times in the Truck Series. What's the key tonight in getting your 5th?
Man, track position. We got a good start going with getting on the pole. That was big for us to get that track position, and now that we're there, hopefully we can stay up front, stay in the clean air. That's been pretty big here in years past, and especially talking to Kyle, he said it was pretty big last year. So if we can stay up front, I think we'll have a good night.
You're 18 years old. Have you had to pinch yourself today and say, man, this has really happened?
Yeah, somebody asked me if I had to wake up yet, and I haven't yet, so I hope it keeps going.
Yeah, what a cool experience and a cool day. And I'll tell you what, he might end his day, JR, in victory lane tonight here in this Camping World Truck Series event.
Vince, thank you very much. Todd, no matter what they throw at this young man, he keeps rising to the occasion.
Absolutely. We know that Eric Jones can drive a race car or a truck. Anything he sits in, he's good at. The thing that impresses me about Eric is he's a good kid. He's humble. He's polite. He appreciates the people around him. And Ryan Fugel, his truck crew chief, told me that he's the oldest 18-year-old he's ever seen. He's wise beyond his years. And the kid has taken advantage of every situation and used the resources that are around him. And one of the biggest resources he has is his truck owner, Kyle Busch. Every week, Eric talks to Kyle about whatever racetrack he's going to and tries to learn and pull everything out of Kyle that he can. Not much better mentor than Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and it's only natural that people would say, okay, 18-year-old, is it too early for him to race in NASCAR's top series? But we have seen other 18-year-olds now. It's becoming a little bit more normal.
Absolutely. If you have the talent and you can get it done, there's no reason not to get behind the wheel. And fortunately for Eric, he's behind the wheel of a lot of good equipment and a lot of good people surrounding him. And and it's elevated him to another position, and he's got a great future in front of him.
Yeah, it's a golden opportunity and very fun to watch as well. Now, you know, Kansas has become a track that's known for its tendency to turn a small mistake into a big sting for a driver. Coming up on the Setup Show, see how this track has taken a bite out of numerous trucks over the years. Raised in a family of racers, he's never been known to hold back about what's on his mind. Just ahead, we sit down with Johnny Sauter to talk about where he's from and where he wants to head. Welcome back, everyone, to the setup for the Camping World Truck Series race at Kansas Speedway. Tonight will be the 15th race for the trucks here in the Heartland, and amazingly, we have never seen a repeat winner on this track. 14 races, 14 different winners, and so far in 2015, we haven't seen a repeat winner.
3 wide in the back. The battle is for the win. Here they fan out, and out in front of everyone is the number 19, Tyler Reddick.
That's how we do it, guys.
The statement has been made. Matt Craft and Toyota Motorsports win at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Finally got one here.
Today, Joey Logano going to see the checkered flag for the first time in his career in the Camping World Truck Series at Martinsville.
After a 5-week break, it's going to be a very busy May for the Truck Series. Here are your upcoming races. Tonight, we're at Kansas. Next Friday, it's Charlotte Motor Speedway. And on May 29th, they take on the high banks of Dover. But right now, Hermie Sadler is with one of our 3 winners, Matt Crafton.
Well, Matt, there's never been a repeat winner in this series at this racetrack. What are your chances of changing that tonight?
Not very good after you just told me that. So you always jinxed it. And so I said this Menards Toyota Tundra's got really good speed and race trim. I was actually very surprised how it qualified because we said we didn't do a qualifying run yesterday. Didn't focus on that. That's all we've been doing all year with this truck is just work on a race step, get it in race trim, and then go from there. So like I said, race trim, we're very, very happy with it. So I think we might have something for him tonight.
That's Matt Crafton, Johnny. In the last mile-and-a-half racetrack we competed at Atlanta, Matt Crafton went to victory lane.
Hermie, thank you. We mentioned that we've never seen a repeat winner here in Kansas. One thing, however, that we have seen plenty of over the years is crashes. Kansas is a track that's notorious as a place that can sting you.
Oh, he's going to get loose. And sideways, Ryan Blaney goes.
All right, we're done, guys. We're done.
Watch out. You'll get another spinner. That'll just about do it there, boys. And hard contact. That's typical of Kansas.
That's how tough this is.
Hard into the wall. A hard hit behind him.
It makes me nervous just knowing how difficult it is to hang onto your truck.
Around they go and into the wall.
He lost it.
Past series champion Todd Bodine is with us again. And Todd, you felt the fury of this track before, but before we get into that, let's take a quick look once again at what unfolded in qualifying that had one team scrambling. That, of course, the trucks of BK Racing. It's Tyler Reddick, and the number 19, he goes for the spin. Nowhere for his teammate to go after that, and that's just the nature of Kansas.
It's tough when you're running wide open like you do here for qualifying. Actually, they do in the race too, but when you're running wide open, you don't just let off the gas, turn the wheel, and think you're going to miss something. It's always going to end up in front of you. This track is so fast that, you know, Tyler, he said he was loose in his first run in qualifying. Obviously, they didn't get tight enough. He was up against the gray. You heard him earlier. He said, I got up in the gray, got in the marbles, and it came around. Unfortunately for KB, Keselowski Racing, Austin Terrell come along and run right into him. I mean, teammates. I mean, that's devastating to a race team to ruin 2 trucks like that, especially when they're primary trucks and they're mile-and-a-half trucks. They probably were going to bring these things to Charlotte next week.
Yeah, and when you look at Terrio from his viewpoint, all you could see was smoke out there. So in that case, a spotter really can't help you when it's that fast, but also that unclear.
Absolutely. I mean, it's smoke, you don't see nothing. But the thing about Austin is, you don't, like I said, you don't just slow down. You don't just hit the brakes and turn the wheel and think you're going to miss this wreck. It doesn't happen because you're going too fast. If your momentum is in that direction, 9 times out of 10, you're going to run into them. Unfortunately, if it would have been good if Tyler would have let off the brake and rolled down the track.
Well, Todd, let's go back to 2013 and take a look at something you'd probably like to forget about Kansas. Tell us what happened in this incident.
Well, this is one thing that happens at Kansas. I was racing with Brendan Newberry. He went down in the corner. He was tight up on my side, and this place is so aerodynamic. When he got tight on my side, it took the air off of his truck, and he got sideways, turned into me, and we went for a ride. I about had it saved, and a guy come along. Like I said, you don't just turn your wheel to miss it, and he run into me, and it ruined the truck.
All part of racing at Kansas. Now, Vince Welch has more on one competitor who could be a very big threat tonight. Vince?
Thanks, JR, and a good starting spot for Ryan Newman tonight. He'll roll off fourth. I was looking at the entry list, and the first thing I saw when I saw your name was the question that came to my mind was why? Why are you in the 8 tonight?
They gave me the opportunity. It's, to help out the Nemechek family, with John Hunter especially, and Chevrolet, and it's a great opportunity to come here and have a little fun. I've got a pretty good track record in the truck series, so I'd like to keep that up tonight.
Is it fun, and what's the challenge to jumping in a truck? You haven't been in one since Eldora a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's a little bit different than here, but, overall, it's just getting a feel for it. I mean, we were wide open pretty much every lap in practice, and I think as the night goes on here, it's just going to be more of that. But, just getting a feel for what they need. I mean, I'm not really been used to the whole limited tires and all that stuff. It's kind of a different deal from the Cup side especially. But, it's just a good opportunity. We've got a good truck, qualified fourth, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, it'll be fun watching Ryan Newman tonight in this 8 truck as he'll start fourth this evening.
Vince, thank you very much. A fixture in the Truck Series, Johnny Sauter continues his quest for a NASCAR title. Coming up, find out how far back into the sport this Sauter name stretches and what gets Johnny fired up.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series returns to Fox Sports 1 for a primetime battle at the Kansas Speedway. Tomorrow at 7 on Fox Sports 1.
Welcome back, everybody, to the setup show for race number 4 of the Camping World Truck Series. Next week is the Sprint All-Star Race, and the fans have the power to vote a driver into the field for the main event. Visit NASCAR.com/SprintFanVote or use the NASCAR mobile app to cast your vote. You can enter to win a trip for 2 to the 2015 Chase race of your choice. Vote daily to make your voice heard. In the 2010 race here, we saw one of the most incredible saves pulled off in the Camping World Truck Series. It was Johnny Sauter battling with then teammate Ron Hornaday, and Sauter went on to win. Drivers tend to come and go from NASCAR, but Johnny's been a fixture in the Truck Series. He comes from a long line of racers and still has plenty of competitive fire.
Lots of drivers come from a racing background, but yours was pretty diverse. Tell me about it.
The first thing that sticks out to everybody when I tell them how many brothers and sisters I had is they go, how many? That's the question I get every time is, well, how was it growing up in a family like that? And to be honest with you, when I was growing up, I didn't know any different. I just thought it was normal. My dad raced a local level up in the Midwest and dabbled in somewhat in the Winston Cup Series back then, I guess it was.
It is Jim Sauter, father of 11 children. That Buick hammering out in front. The Wisconsin driver finally getting his break.
And I had a couple older brothers, Jay and Tim, that had raced, so I grew up kind of hanging out with those guys some because my dad was away traveling and doing those kinds of things. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
When you look back at your dad's career, I'm curious what you learned as you were coming up using him as a role model.
My dad was a great race car driver, I think, and he was a pretty smart guy as far as chassis go. My dad could build anything. It didn't matter if it was a washing machine that was broke or build a race car or whatever it was. So the rule always was, remember who you are, where you came from, and what you represent. And, if you did that, the rest of it didn't matter. But he was a smart guy, and he'll be missed.
Jim, back into a race car, put into perspective how special it is to race against not one, not two, but 3 of your sons on this type of stage.
I'm ready for him. Take me back to where you got to race against your brothers and your dad at the same time. I know from a media standpoint, we were all like, oh, this is a great photo.
That was the only time that I ever got to race against my dad was at Milwaukee in 2002.
All of our Sauters are still on the lead lap. We've got Jay Sauter in the 21. He's 12th. We have Jim Sauter Sr., 29. He's 15th. Johnny's in 17th. Tim in 18th.
It's extra special for me just because I never got to race against my father that much. But that was a cool day, for sure.
Sauter across the line, and he is a winner here this afternoon.
There really is kind of two Johnny Sodders. There's this guy that I'm chatting with, and then there's that guy that's in the middle of the moment when you're racing. And those two guys are a little bit different. Are you aware of that?
I'm pretty aware of it. Yeah, I've been told that.
A few people let you know, right?
Well, I think they say that it's when I put the helmet on, I'm lacking oxygen. So.
Yeah.
My whole life has been racing. I never wanted to play any other sports. I never really wanted to do anything. And I know you hear that from a lot of drivers, but it truly is what I wanted to do and what I am.
Johnny Sauter not real happy.
I've always questioned how guys can get wrecked from somebody and just get out of the car and be like, well, we'll get them next week. That never clicked with me. It never registered with me. And the older I get, it does.
Right.
Whatever.
I don't got nothing to lose. I don't care anymore.
I give it my all. Whatever it is, it's 100%. That's all you can give. And sometimes your emotions get the best of you, but that's who I am, and that's what I am.
How would you like to see the rest of your career play out?
Geez, am I retiring or
no,
what?
I'm just, I'm a crystal ball here. I'm looking down,
There's no question you'd want to be a champion in the Camping World Truck Series. That would be a huge feather in your cap. But again, I put more emphasis on winning races. I really do.
And the celebration Johnny Sauter will win at Las Vegas. Sauter wins at Texas. Johnny Sauter's going to win at Daytona.
I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. I'm happy being in the Truck Series, getting to play a little bit here in the Cup Series. But a championship would be huge, but I'd like to be able to double my win total right now in the next couple of years. I'm here for the moment and go drive as hard as I can, and whatever shakes out, shakes out.
And Todd, you had a chance to race against Johnny for years. How tough of a competitor is he?
He's so intense, it's ridiculous. Well, like he said, when he puts that helmet on, oxygen leaves or something. I don't know what it is, but he is incredibly intense.
All right, so 100% no matter what happens for Johnny Sauter. Let's now take a look at the points and see where Johnny and the rest of the drivers are in the Camping World Truck Series. Matt Crafton is your two-time defending champion, finds himself back on top of the points again, followed by Reddick Jones. There's Johnny Sauter in fourth. James Busher is in fifth. Then it's Townley, Ray Black, and you see Ben Kennedy rounds out your top 10 in points. We saw chaos unfold in qualifying for tonight's race. What lies in store for the race itself? And could we perhaps have a first-time winner? We check in back on the grid when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. The countdown is on to the command to start the engines for tonight's Camping World Truck Series race in Kansas. Austin Theriault will have his work cut out for him as he was involved in a little bit of the chaos that happened earlier tonight in qualifying. Todd, let's take another look at what happened here as his teammate Tyler Reddick spins in front of him. Nowhere for Theriault to go.
Absolutely. Austin could do nothing about that. We're going to see a lot of this tonight. These guys are on the ragged edge every lap. That's the only way to go fast at Kansas. And if you step over that edge, this is what happens.
And the reason we're taking a look at that again is that's what we could see tonight. Now let's take a look in the rearview mirror. The first ever race here was very special for the Hendrick family. The late Ricky Hendrick claimed his first and only NASCAR victory at this track back in 2001. Could we possibly have another first-time winner tonight? We head to Hermie Sadler for more. Hermie?
I think one driver that's got a great chance to get his first win tonight is Ben Kennedy. He starts fifth, but more importantly, I think Ben is now with the right team. He has the right teammates. Back at Atlanta, mile-and-a-half racetrack, had probably the most complete race he's run in this series, finished third. I think Ben Kennedy could get it done tonight. Vince?
Well, Hermie, in the 14 previous Camping World Truck Series races here at Kansas, the winner has started inside the top 10 every single time. So who can maybe break that trend here tonight? Well, the one name jumps out at me outside the top 10 starting position is Timothy Peters, 8-time winner in the Camping World Truck Series, qualified 12th, weren't happy with their truck in practice from a balance perspective, but in qualifying thought they were actually better than they ended up. They believe they've got a top 10 caliber truck tonight and maybe even one that can improve on his career best Kansas finish of second, and that would be victory lane. JR?
Vince, thank you very much. Todd, you won at this racetrack back in 2005. What does it take? What do you have to put together to get through the chaos?
Well, you got to have the whole package. You got to have a fast truck that drives good. This place is about driving because you're running wide open through the corner. If it's not comfortable, it's hard to hang on to. That's what happened to Tyler. So you got to have a good truck. I think a lot of these young guys might struggle a little bit in making sure that that's a good truck. We'll see. It was about practice yesterday and getting them to drive well. And we got a lot of young guys. We'll see how they do.
It is also a very good track for first-time winners. You can see we've had 4 drivers drive to victory lane in the Truck Series for their first time at Kansas. Although be it difficult, it can happen anywhere from anywhere on the grid. You can come to take the checkered flag. But right now, it is time for us to send you to Kansas and Truck Series racing.
The wait. 6 weeks. Tonight, the wait ends when the trucks rumble into Kansas. Back to the grind as the best racing on the circuit plays under Friday night lights.
Sparks flying.
Whose night
Charging back in.
is worth the wait?
Hey guys, great job.
Absolutely dominant. Untouchable. Kyle Busch is going to win in Kansas.
Hello again from Kansas City, Kansas. Tonight, it's the 4th race of the year for the Camping World Truck Series. We are live on Fox Sports 1 from Kansas Speedway. Let's now take a look at drivers to watch in tonight's 250-mile event. We start with Johnny Sauter, comes in 4th in the championship. He won this race in 2010, qualified earlier today in the 7th position. And what about Ryan Newman? First time we've seen him in a truck since July of 2013. He won in a Sprint Cup race here back in 2003, qualified Joe Nemechek's number 8 on the outside of row 2. Now we go to row 1. Matt Crafton, so good at mile and a half, has won the last 2 series championships, put his Menards Toyota in the 2nd position in qualifying earlier this afternoon. And the talk of the garage about the kid that will make his Sprint Cup debut here tomorrow night, Eric Jones, qualified on the pole earlier today, 3rd time in his career. It's a new track record here at Kansas Speedway. Now we go trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and remove your hats as Fort Riley's Commanding General's Mounted Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer tonight's invocation from Kansas City Raceway Ministries, pastor of Bethel Baptist Church in Lincoln, Nebraska, please welcome R.D. Fowler.
Race fans, join me in prayer. Father, as we race tonight, Mother's Day is approaching, and we want to give thanks for our mothers. Ask that you bless them. We pray for a safe race tonight. We ask that you keep the drivers, all those at trackside, all those in attendance safe. We do remember all those who have served, those who continue to serve to keep us free. We ask you bless them, bless this United States. In Jesus' name, amen.
Here to honor America with her performance of our national anthem, please welcome Katie Gash.
Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear it for Katie and her performance.
It's been a long day for NASCAR teams here at Kansas. Sprint Cup practice noon Eastern time. The nightcap, round 4 for the Camping World Truck Series. The command of fire engines is next.
Kansas, I can't think of the word. I like the track.
We are experiencing technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a hole.
Fast.
Johnny Sauter on cruise control.
It's wide open, yeah.
3 wide as they go into 2 and down the backstretch.
Corn. Toyota. Open fields of, where do they grow down in Kansas? Open fields of wheat.
How about great racing is a way to describe the Camping World Truck Series when they visit the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Good to have you with us on a Friday night here on Fox Sports 1. Let's open up the clipboard. Yes, it is a tough track. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Eric Jones versus Matt Crafton. They have dominated on track so far this weekend. Good to have you along for the ride on a Friday evening here on Fox Sports 1 with Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. I'm Adam Alexander. The gang is back together. The last time we saw you for the trucks, almost 6 weeks ago at Martinsville. We know the short track in Southern Virginia is tough. Turns out, so is the 1.5 miles here in Kansas, Phil.
Yeah, Adam, 18 of our 32 starters here are rookies. And all they heard about this place was it's fast, there's a lot of grip. But the problem is when you have a racetrack with a lot of grip, sometimes that's harder to drive than the ones that are slippery. And we see a lot of action. And Brad Keselowski's drivers found out just how tough it is during qualifying. Watch the 19 here of Tyler Reddick. Just got a little bit loose, got up out of the groove, spins down in front, and guess who's going to come along? Austin Theriault, his teammate. That will relegate both of the Brad Keselowski drivers. 2 backup trucks, as you see them unloading him here, and all the way back to the back of the pack for the start.
So, tough guys at the back, really good guys, and tough guys at the front, too. Matt Crafton, 4 career wins on these 1.5 mile tracks. Right beside him, Eric Jones, 10 straight top 10 finishes in the Truck Series, including 2 wins. Not only would these 2 be your favorite tonight to win this race, they're also the 2 that'll battle for this championship.
And how about this? 14 races at Kansas, 14 different winners. I think Eric Jones could make it 15 for 15 tonight. He's the pre-race favorite. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome tonight's Grand Marshal, Toyota Customer Services Field Manager, Eric Hill.
Drivers, start your engines!
As the engines fire here tonight at Kansas, the entire Camping World Truck Series community thinking about our family's friend. That would be Steve Burns. Steve lost his bout with cancer last month.
Karen, Bryson, we love you. You will continue to be in our thoughts and prayers. Steve was a special man. He inspired all of us to be better people.
We're going to miss him tremendously.
We go green from Kansas after a break.
Getting better.
Just about time for the Camping World Truck Series to get down to business for the 4th time in 2015. Our 2nd race of 9 this year at a 1.5 mile venue. It's all about the Kansas Speedway, so now we roll off our Camping World track description and our shell race analysis.
Great racetrack. They reconfigured this racetrack back in 2012. You can see the banking in the corners progressive from 17 at the bottom up to 20. That's why this groove's already widened out today, Michael.
And that also means, Phil, they're going to be running down in these corners at over 185 miles an hour in a pickup truck. That's amazing because that's not a whole lot of banking.
You see these teams will pit probably somewhere around 50 to 55 laps if we go green. We're going to stop 3 times. They have 3 sets of tires in the pits for this race.
14 times we've been here. Every time the winner has started inside the top 10. 6 times they've come from the front row. A couple of Toyotas up there. Eric Jones, 3rd career pole alongside Matt Crafton, who won this race a couple of years ago. Youth versus experience in row 2.
And there you see Daniel Hemrick. He's a real story. He could be a player in this race, along with Cameron Haley back in the 7th starting position. Let's talk to Cameron for a bit. Hey, Cameron Haley, it's Michael Waltrip from the Fox Sports 1 booth. Fastest truck in practice yesterday, starting inside the top 10. Think you got something for him tonight, buddy?
Yeah, you know, I think we got a great canvas by Haley Toyota Tundra for the race today. It's the Toyota Tundra 250, so it'd be awesome to go out there and get the Toyota family a win. And I think it's going to be good. Lots to learn, but we got a long race to do it.
Well, you've been impressive. 18-year-old out of Canada. Have some fun on the high banks in Kansas.
10-4, it's a dream come true, and happy to be here.
You look at his career numbers, he's been impressive and already off to a good start, and this is his first full year in the Camping World Truck Series. You continue to watch the starting lineup for tonight's race, and before we go green, we need to visit with our pit reporters. We start things off with Vince Welsh. Good evening, Vince.
Hello, Adam. You know, when we're talking about potential winners tonight, I think we've got to include Johnny Sauter in that conversation. He's won here at Kansas before, did that back in 2010. He's been top 10 in all 3 races this season. He's 4th in points. He's won 10 times in his career in the Camping World Truck Series. Half of those wins have come on 1.5 mile tracks. When we get down to the final laps tonight, I'd be surprised if the 98's not in the mix. Let's go to Hermie.
Well, Vince, Ryan Newman is back in the Camping World Truck Series, and that could spell trouble for the competition. Ryan Newman won his first ever race in this series back at Atlanta in 2008. He has a top 5 finish in every race he's ever run in this series. He starts 4th, and outside of Eric Jones, has more track time this weekend than any driver on the track. I talked to Joe Nemechek before the race. He said, this truck, we have thrown everything we've got at it. Brand new truck. This is our best shot to get to victory lane. Adam?
And Ryan Newman, no stranger to success. You look at the numbers here when he's driving in the Camping World Truck Series. Now our onboard cameras.
Yeah, we're going to ride along in the Ford onboard Austin Terrier. We saw what happened to him just a few moments ago during qualifying. He will have to take this backup Cooper Standard Ford to the back of the pack for the start.
How about let's hop on board with Ben Kennedy and his Toyota, sponsored by Local Motors. Ben was on the pole at the 1.5 mile in Atlanta. He's got a fast truck here in Kansas as well.
Let's ride along with Ryan Newman here in the Rescue Ranch Chevy. He's been in 5 Truck Series events, never finished outside the top 5, and he's starting 4th tonight.
Well, what better place to ride along with the pole sitter? Eric Jones has got that Tundra sitting on the front row. You can see that he's elected to start on the outside of that front row, wanting to work that high side banking down into turn 1. He's won on these racetracks before. In fact, Adam, he's never gone more than 4 starts without winning a Truck Series race. This is his 4th start.
And how about Kyle Busch Motorsports? 1 year ago at the 1.5 mile tracks, they won 7 of 8 races. And here's one of their young hot shoes, Justin Boston.
Guys, I'm not getting attacked. Where everything's plugged in down there. Yeah, he hit the reset. That's with the wire, and it came back on for a split second, but that was it. It's back out. I don't know if he can jiggle it, you know, feel up there behind it.
That's, this really could be a problem when he comes down pit road. It shouldn't be much of a problem when he's restarting the race. He just knows when he has to shift. But when he's coming down pit road, he would be very fortunate to have somebody to follow down pit road and to exit pit road.
It's been a while since the trucks have been in action, so we remind you, 3 races, 3 different winners, 2 of those from the Brad Keselowski stable.
Yeah, Tyler Wright has had a hot start to this 2015 season. As you can see, all top 5 finishes, but he's got his work cut out for him tonight for sure.
Yeah, that hot start turned bad during qualifying when he got crashed. So we'll see if that team can work their way through the field.
4th race of the year for the Camping World Truck Series. Under the lights on a Friday night at Kansas Speedway. Put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Matt Crafton's hanging strong on that inside. In fact, is going to go door to door into turn 1 with Eric Jones.
Look at Ryan Newman pushing hard from the 2nd row.
Remember, when the trucks are on their outside, those inside trucks are pretty loose.
And Phil, we've seen that a lot at Kansas. The first caution flag comes out before lap 20 here, and it's usually because of a spin. These trucks working side by side all over each other.
Last year it came out on lap 1, and I'm not sure we're going to make it much further tonight. Getting after it as they come off of turn 4. Jones able to slide in front of Crafton. He'll lead lap 1.
Well, look how close these trucks are. That's what happens when these racetracks are fast, and you can run these things close to wide open.
On board with Ben Kennedy. That's the rookie to his right, Daniel Hemrick, in that bright orange and green machine.
You talk about rookies. There's 18 rookies in this field.
Look at this 3-wide battle. Justin Boston down on the inside without a tachometer. That's not a problem right now. That truck directly to his outside is a problem. That thing's going to want to get loose there. The rookie's going to have to watch it.
Spencer Gallagher was in that far outside lane, that blue and yellow Allegiant Air machine, he was able to drive through in the 23.
Remember the last time he raced here, he was in victory lane for the ARCA event last year.
Boy, I love this racing. You can see those trucks just glued to the bottom of the racetrack, making good time down there. But Phil, as these trucks build up air pressure and the handling starts to go away, they're going to be looking for more grip on the high side. So watch for grooves to change as we run through this fuel stop.
Fast laps by Eric Jones right now. He ran a lap that was about as fast as he ran during all of practice yesterday.
And giving credit where credit is due, let's talk about the other Jones. Brandon Jones riding in the 3rd position. First time he's ever been to an intermediate track. He's really never experienced the aerodynamics in the Camping World Truck Series. He's done a nice job throughout the weekend, practice and qualifying.
Yeah, you know, Adam, you make it sound kind of innocent when you say he's never been to an intermediate track. He's never seen anything like this. This kid's been racing on the short tracks. He qualified in the 3rd position. He's feeling things he's never seen or felt before running in the draft, and he's running along with Eric Jones, Matt Crafton, and Ryan Newman. He's in some great company, but look at this battle.
A couple of teammates battling from Thorsport. You've got Johnny Sauter, the 98 on the inside, Cameron Haley on the outside. Here's another battle. Ryan Newman going after Brandon Jones on the inside.
A couple of Chevrolets there. Both of them qualified on the 2nd row. On board with Newman, who's able to drive by the youngster Jones. And that yellow machine behind is Ben Kennedy, as the 54 is able to get around the 17. Of course, that's the rookie Justin Boston from Kyle Busch Motorsports.
And the 17 of Timothy Peters must have had a moment there, because he had lost all his momentum over there in 3 and 4.
Those moments will stop your heart here at Kansas. We talked about speeds into the corners of upwards of 185 miles an hour. And when you're in a position like Ben Kennedy is right here alongside the rookie Jones, it'll take your breath if that truck starts to snap loose, because you know you don't have anywhere to go but into that outside truck.
See the wiggle there for Brandon Jones on board with Ben Kennedy. This is the battle for 4th. 6 laps in here at Kansas.
Yeah, right now Brandon Jones is in the more secure spot out on the outside. He's doing a nice job giving Ben Kennedy plenty of room there. If he pulled that truck down next to Ben Kennedy, I'll guarantee you that 11 truck would get loose.
He could spin him out, Phil. I mean, he could dive down on him and literally spin Kennedy out, but he's going to spin himself out in doing so. So that's some good spotting and some great driving by the rookie there, leaving about a half a truck width between those 2 trucks.
As they battle side by side for position, it invited Daniel Suarez into the mix. Talk about fast trucks. Started at the back after an accident. He's in a backup truck. Look at Tyler Reddick in the 19.
Unbelievable. We interviewed the crew chief of the 29, Chad Kendrick, during our qualifying show. He said we've got just as good a trucks as backup trucks, and right now Tyler Reddick driving the other BKR truck is making it look like it.
You know, we've seen Reddick. We've seen him out of control, and he just continuously saved his truck, hung on to his truck. Slide after slide. So if that thing's anywhere near perfect or near good, he's going to take it to the front, no doubt about it.
31st to 23rd, not bad in a backup truck in 8 laps. But when you've gone from 30th to 14th, that's a big-time statement, Hermie.
Adam, we had a chance to speak to Tyler Reddick on the pre-race show, and I spoke to him one more time right before the race started, and I just could not get over the confidence we've seen out of Tyler Reddick beginning this race, starting in the back, and he knew that his team brought a good backup truck. They told him to be patient for the first few laps. Obviously, he threw that out the window, but he's got a fast truck. He closed in on the back of John West Townley. He's been very quiet on the radio, but quiet is fast from the driver's seat, Vince.
Well, and his teammate Austin Terrio spoke with him before the race tonight as well and said they were going a little more conservative on the setup. They want to make sure that everything is taken care of, have a little bit more stability in that truck coming into this race after the accident in practice. But he said, we have total confidence that we're as good with the backup as we would have been with the primary. No real surprise they're moving forward.
And the one benefit for both these guys, Vince, they tested here. Austin Terrio, being a rookie, gets a handful of tests. They used one here, and the door is open for a veteran to shake down the vehicle. And the first caution of the night for the young guy that we were just talking about, Brandon Jones in the 33.
Yeah, we're still continuing to run up in the top 5. I looked up, saw him over in turn 2, backed up against the outside safer barrier.
Well, when Ben Kennedy got to the inside of him, he started running a little bit higher on the track, and I think he tried to dive to the bottom for the first time, and the truck just broke loose with him when he drove to the bottom. That's a quick snap there, too. You usually see him wiggle a little bit more than that.
On board with Brian Newman, who was running right in front of him. Got away from him in turn 2. First caution of the night, 11 laps in at Kansas. Tonight marks the 15th time the Camping World Truck Series has been to Kansas Speedway, and now 12 of those races have seen at least one caution prior to lap 17. The victim tonight, Brandon Jones. NASCAR and Fox are celebrating Mother's Day this weekend and invite you to share your favorite photos on social media using the hashtag NASCARWithMom. Eric Jones, the early leader for the trucks here at Kansas. Tonight, it's the Camping World Truck Series in Kansas. Under the lights tomorrow, all about NASCAR's top shelf. Will we get our 9th winner of the year and put another driver in the playoffs? We'll see you 7 p.m. Eastern time for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400. We're live on Fox Sports 1, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And as always, if you're out and about, we're streaming live at Fox Sports Go. Let's hear from Brandon Jones. Vince?
Well, it's been such an impressive weekend up until this point. A lot of damage to this truck. What happened, Brandon?
Yeah, tough to say, honestly. We were a little free in practice, or in traffic right there, and I mean, just got I don't know if it got a tire or what happened. Snapped really quick, and yeah, I mean, snapped around really fast on us. So hard to say, honestly. This kind of sucks. These guys worked their, really hard all weekend, and had a really good truck too. So I don't know. Looks pretty tore up. So we'll see here.
Adam.
Second of 17 starts this season. Brandon Jones in the garage early. We'll put the green flag back in the air as we complete lap 15. Once again, Eric Jones selects the outside lane. He's led every lap so far tonight.
Another good jump by Matt Crafton, staying dead even with Eric Jones.
He's getting a good push there, too, from Ryan Newman. See if he can squeeze ahead of Jones.
Did have a few trucks come down pit road under caution, some topping off with fuel, others getting a couple of tires. We'll update their situation as we go along, and the battle for the lead happening down the back straightaway.
You saw Crafton dive to the bottom trying to break the draft away from Jones, and Jones followed him down there, and now he's going to hold the lead off turn 4.
You know, I was watching our scoring monitor before that caution came out. Eric Jones had run within a 1/2 of a second on his last lap before the caution as his fastest lap of the race.
We talked about these tires, Phil. They're really hard, so they're durable. They're durable Goodyear tires. But you know what that means? The more laps you put on them, sometimes they get a little bit faster, That's why I love this type of racing. We're going to see some strategy. They're not just going to throw 4 tires on it every chance they get. They're going to have to figure out if they can get 2 and when they just stay out on tires.
Tyler Young scored in the 15th position, being posted by NASCAR. A restart violation for him. Tough break under green.
Another interesting truck is the 17 there of Timothy Peters. You see him working the high side of Mason Mingus. I watched him come to pit road, and man, that team went to work on that truck. He obviously had slid around a couple of times we talked about earlier, and they were working on the rear end of that truck, putting wedge in it and hoping to make some improvements to Peters' vehicle, but so far, not so good.
They struggled a little bit in practice yesterday. We were down in the garage area during that practice session, and they had made some changes late in the practice session and made it better, but still a bit of a struggle.
Another guy that elected to come down pit road under our first caution, Tyler Reddick, started in the back, got a couple of tires. Here he is from 30th to 8th, and we haven't even had 20 laps under green yet.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick, he's finished in the top 10 his last 3 starts on the 1.5 miles.
How good would it feel for that young man to have a problem in qualifying and then come back and have a stout run early like he's doing now? Just builds that confidence back after problems.
They posted the 25 of Matt Tifft, and if you followed his career, certainly has a lot of talent. Came out yesterday driving for Venturini this weekend. 3rd lap of practice, cut a tire, hit the wall, had to go to a backup truck, had no laps on it until qualifying today, and already problems for the Ohio native.
Look at Matt Crafton. We talked about the groove moving up when those tires got some heat in them and some laps on them. Crafton's starting to search around, really pulling up on our leader, Eric Jones.
Here comes Austin Terrio. He's trying to make his way back up towards the front. Just took over the 17th spot.
Good battle for position here. That's 5th on the line. Inside the orange 51, Daniel Suarez. Outside of him, the 98 of Johnny Sauter.
I know we've talked about it during the Xfinity races as Suarez goes ahead and makes the pass, but how impressive has that young man been? Been fast just about every week, and he's really piling up some great finishes in the Xfinity Series, as well as the fact that he has 3 top 10s in the 3 truck races so far this year.
How about that second at Bristol? What a hard-fought race that was. You couple him with Jerry Baxter here in the Truck Series. Jerry having so much success with young Darrell Wallace Jr. behind the wheel of his trucks. Now he takes over with Daniel Suarez. These two could mature and come together as a threat for this championship. Or racing hard up toward the front for sure.
Eric Jones leads. His advantage last time around, 0.4 of a second over second-place Matt Crafton, Vince.
Well, and he really likes the way his truck is handling right now. Matt Crafton says he's wide open, only lifting to see if that's another line that works for him. But one thing they're keeping an eye on, guys, is the weather. Rain in the forecast throughout much of the weekend here at Kansas, and there's not too much distance between here and possible precipitation. Here's the conversation on the radio talking strategy.
Keep your eye on that storm system. If you haven't looked at it yet, it's getting closer, and I don't know if that's how it's, which direction. Bob just showed me on his phone up here. They're hearing a lot of chatter about it. So, yeah, just in case we got to race to halfway or something. I'm just trying to help you there. Changes your strategy. Yes, sir. That it will, too, Thank you.
Well, we're seeing a good battle here through the first 24 laps of the 167 between Eric Jones and Matt Crafton. Hopefully, we get to see the entire 167 tonight.
Well, Vince, the 98 of Johnny Sauter started 7th, made a little bit of headway prior to that caution, but since the caution has come out, he's ready to his crew that he is too loose right now, just sliding the right rear of this truck on entry and exit too much to really go fast. We saw him lose that position to the 51 of Daniel Suarez, so Johnny Sauter looking to go to pit road as soon as possible as we have a battle for the lead, Adam.
Yeah, and his teammate looking good. Inside lane, Matt Crafton opened it up, trying to get the top spot from Eric Jones, but the youngster from Michigan not going away. Side by side for the top spot here at Kansas.
We've watched him since he started. You cannot rattle that young man in that Ford truck.
Looked like maybe they got hung up on the lap truck of Norm Benning, cost the Ford truck of Eric Jones his momentum, and look who's joined this battle for the lead. Ryan Newman coming up.
We've got a front row seat for it all. Jones jumps back out in front of Matt Crafton. The 18-year-old has led the first 18 laps tonight.
See, they're approaching the red truck of Norm Benning. See, Norm just jumped up a lane. Eric was going to go around on the outside, had to get back off the throttle, pull down underneath him, and he lost all his momentum, and that allowed Crafton to pull up beside him.
It looked like Eric maybe cut that truck a little bit hard when he saw Norm changing lanes and got loose, saved the truck, but almost lost the lead.
So 26 laps complete. Eric Jones has led them all. 1:41 to go here at Kansas. We'll step aside, send it to Los Angeles, and call right. 32 laps into the 167 that make up tonight's Camping World Truck Series event at Kansas Speedway. 250 miles in length. Eric Jones qualified on the pole earlier today. Chose the outside lane at the start and on the first restart after our opening caution. He's led all 33 laps, and so far, smooth sailing for him in that Toyota.
Yeah, let's ride along and listen now. As you mentioned, we're on lap 34. Let's see how close he is to continue to run wide open. Didn't see much of a blip there, did you?
It's all green.
Yeah,
green.
Let's see when he gets down to this end of the racetrack, too.
He's going to have some traffic to deal with, Bill.
A little bit tighter exit off of 2, this end of the racetrack.
Plus, I think he's got to be aware that those guys ahead of him could go one way or the other, but...
No. We'll just keep it all green.
Pretty comfortable with those guys getting out of his way, I guess. The little run-in he nearly had with Norm Benning hasn't shaken the young man at all.
Moves up the racetrack into the second lane. Never off the throttle. And now you know why he has almost a 3-second lead over Matt Crafton.
Well, if you weren't around earlier today on Fox Sports 1, quickest in final practice as he gets set for his first Sprint Cup start and qualified in the 12th spot, making the final round of qualifying. This kid's got so much talent, but the guy behind him loves to win, and he's done a lot of it lately, Michael.
Yeah, and that's going to be a solid truck. You know, the type of experience Crafton has, he can call for an adjustment or two when they come to pit road. You got a guy that's won here in the Sprint Cup Series, and Ryan Newman, he could get that adjustment, and all those guys can heat Eric Jones up again before this night's over for sure.
We ride along with Ryan and that Chevrolet on board right now running third. Really impressed with that young man that's running behind Ryan Newman. Ben Kennedy has had a nice run so far. You see, you heard Ryan Newman out of the throttle a little bit, way more than the Ford truck of Eric Jones. There's Ben Kennedy right there. Let's ride along with him. At a top 5 at Atlanta this year. Didn't come clear out of the throttle, but you could hear him pedal it a little bit. The upwards of 8,000 RPMs. He's 8,200 at the start-finish line.
And that's just a feel thing, Phil. When you hear him just roll off the throttle there, he just knows that truck's running on the edge of control. If it was 2 or 3 laps ago, he might decide to push a little bit harder, but you can't put it on the edge lap after lap after lap and get away with it. So just being a little bit conservative, keeping pace with Ryan Newman, though. You mentioned it. Great job by Ben Kennedy.
5 of the top 6 right now, Toyotas. The only non-Toyota in the top 6, we mentioned him, Ryan Newman in the Chevrolet, driving for Joe Nemechek's group this weekend. Bill, you talked about how impressive Daniel Suarez has been. 3 races this year in the truck, 3 top 10 finishes, and running inside the top 5 right now.
Really doing a nice job, and I love their program. I love the fact that he jumps in this truck for Kyle Busch whenever he can. He runs the full Xfinity program for Joe Gibbs Racing, getting a lot of experience. It's hard to imagine how many, what 30-some Xfinity races and 15-20 truck races are going to do for that young man.
And he's proven to be a quick learner, a sponge, just picks up things so quickly, doing a great job in NASCAR.
Behind Suarez, the veteran Johnny Sauter, one of 2 drivers that have recorded a victory in the Camping World Truck Series here at Kansas that are entered tonight.
I think you need to come up on the front air a little, dragging the splitter. I think it's the left. It's only doing it once. You got to dump the throttle a little bit. It just bounces off of it a little bit. Little free in, little tight on exit.
I talked about the adjustments some of these veterans will call for and will make their trucks better. That's the kind of feedback the crew chiefs needs. That's Johnny Sauter saying a little bit more air in that left front tire, and I think I can go faster. That's valuable information to have.
And Johnny's so good. He works on his own stuff. He has his own late model car. Caution on the racetrack.
Looks like the 29 of Austin Theriault off turn 4 maybe got loose and just saved that truck.
And it had him pointed down pit road, so he just decided just to go straight down pit road instead of try to cut that truck back to the racetrack.
And if that is the case, that's an amazing save.
Second caution of the night comes out at lap 41. Eric Jones is out front. Matt Crafton is second. Ryan Newman third. Ben Kennedy fourth. Daniel Suarez fifth. And here you see Theriault coming off of turn 4. Nice job.
Great save. He was down on the inside of another truck like we talked of. Arrow loose. He was running in the 17th position. And watch this. This is going to be amazing TV.
Even with you. Tight right. Hold on to him. Caution down. Heads up on pit road. Just come down pit road. Easy. Start slowing down. Start slowing down. Start slowing down.
That's exactly what we were talking about. The truck on the outside was very, very close to him, and it just sucked the back of that truck around.
And you hear the spotter? That's what you need to hear. That was an excellent job by the spotter. Tight on you.
Yep.
That meant that Austin knew that there was a guy sucking down to his right side. And when he got down there, it spun that truck around.
First truck 1 lap down, the 63 of Tyler Tanner, scored in the 17th position. He will receive the free pass under this, our second caution of the night.
Be a great opportunity for these guys to come down pit road. We had several trucks that pitted back on lap number 13, but I think we'll see the whole field on pit road now.
Now those guys were hoping this thing might run out a few laps and they could spend some time on the track while our leaders hit pit road, but the caution flag is the equalizer in this situation. So Timothy Peters, he's struggling with that truck, but he's made it better and has been able to hang in there in the 12th position on the lead lap. We only have 16 guys on the lead lap, and Ray Black Jr. is 16th position, continuing a strong start to his 2015 season.
Yeah, had that great top 5 at Daytona to start the season off.
You guys talked about the problems for Timothy Peters. He's got an ill-handling race truck here in the first third of the race. said the truck is loose, and we'll continue to monitor his progress as he comes to pit road looking for another adjustment.
Yeah, his team did an amazing job coming to pit road early, using that caution flag to make some adjustments. I talked about 2 wedge wrenches in the back of that truck on pit road making adjustments. Now he's been able to drive up to 12th. It's loose and he's hanging on. If they can make some more improvements to it, he could race into the top 10.
Yeah, we know we'll have this adjustment here and at least 2 more if this race goes the full distance.
Fuel window 50 to 55 laps. We were closing on possible green flag pit stops. Instead, first pit stop of the night for most will come under caution. Hermie Sadler leads us off.
Well, Adam, we heard Johnny Sauter tell his crew his truck is free on entry, tight on center, exit. They also need to get the splitter, left front splitter, off the racetrack. It'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and a chassis adjustment for Johnny Sauter. Vince.
Well, a long way down pit road for that yellow truck of Matt Crafton. He says it's just a little bit loose, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires for Crafton. As far as the 4 of Eric Jones is concerned, he had been a tick-free as well. Used the fans to snug it up. Says it's very comfortable now. No changes to the 4 of Eric Jones. And this is one of the strengths of their program. Michael Waltrip Racing Cup crew members pitting that truck, but it's going to be Matt Crafton getting off pit road first. Well done.
Crafton able to drive by Eric Jones. They exchanged the top 2 spots. And how about Tyler Reddick in the 19? Second time they've been down pit road tonight, +4. He will restart in the 3rd position.
And on the other end of the spectrum, -4 for Johnny Sauter. Talking about the truck hitting the splitter on the racetrack, needed an adjustment. Looked like the jackman struggled getting from the right side around to the left, costing him 4 spots.
Second caution of the night. Everyone's been on pit road. Matt Crafton will be the race leader when we go back green for the trucks at Kansas. 45 laps in. 250 miles tonight for the Camping World Truck Series here at Kansas. And now our Ford facts from Kansas Speedway. 14 races, 14 different winners. I think we could get number 15 tonight. And how about this, the fact that every race here has been won by a driver that qualified inside the top 10.
Yeah, how about you really went out on a limb on that, maybe getting the 15th winner, didn't you?
Well, you know, that's just a prediction. Matt Crafton, who's leading. One of the drivers that is won here, is restarting as the race leader. And Michael, like Eric Jones, he chooses the outside lane.
Yeah, and we saw Eric Jones do an amazing job in the Xfinity race down at Texas on that inside. Crafton tried with all his might to grab the lead away from Jones starting on the bottom, wasn't able to do so. This could be a real telltale story about how this race could wind up if Jones is able to take the lead from the bottom.
A couple penalties here under caution. Wendell Chavis had an uncontrolled tire on his pit stop. Travis Quapple driving through 2 mini pit stalls. Front row the same as we started the race, but they are reversed. Outside lane, Matt Crafton, he's the control truck. Green flag goes in the air as we complete lap 46.
Ooh, we got trouble on the start. Matt really brought him down slow and then slowed down some more till he got to the goal line. That really bunched the field up behind him.
Look at this battle for the lead. Crafton's hanging tough on that outside. See if he can retain the lead from the top.
Look who's snuggled up right behind him. The 19 of Tyler Reddick, proving just how fast that truck is. On board with Ryan Newman, riding in the 4th spot.
See the experienced veteran of Crafton. He gave plenty of room to the inside for Jones to run in. Jones taking that shortcut all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to take a shorter route to gain time.
Yeah, Crafton wants to hold on to the lead, but he doesn't want to sacrifice that Ford truck or his truck to do it.
This is about the stage of the restart where Jones has been able to drive around Crafton on the back straightaway, pull down and get the lead. Crafton ain't able to get it done here.
Jones with a slight edge here. Both these trucks, I'll bet you, running just about wide open around here.
Look at Tyler Reddick. Will he decide to make them 3 wide? No, he's going to push the Ford truck. Try to give Eric Jones the lead, and he does.
Jones all clear as he comes off turn 2.
With an assist from Reddick.
And Reddick peeking to the inside on Matt Crafton. The battle for second is on midway down the back straightaway.
But here comes Newman. He's going to push Crafton. And they clear the 19, at least Crafton does for the time being. Look at that run that Reddick has off, though.
But how impressive has it been for Tyler Reddick for a backup truck to be battling up here for the lead just 49 laps into this race?
This time Newman, a little drafting help to Crafton, pushes the 88 to second, and Newman going to look to go outside of Reddick, but cannot get there. Those 3 trucks settle in line, and Spencer Gallagher off the pace in the 23.
Looks like Spencer must have had a moment over there. Again, lost all his momentum. We saw that happen earlier. Let's take a look at what happened to Spencer Gallagher over here in 1 and 2.
Yep, down on the bottom, Phil, and he just bobbles his way up, and wow, so close to wiping out Daniel Suarez and Spencer Gallagher himself.
And that's a situation where Suarez was down tight on him, but he took a chance of taking himself out too by that 23 truck getting loose.
Well, I think the 23 bobbled up a little bit and came off the bottom, and that put Suarez tight on him. So just hard racing here 50 laps into this thing. Remember, weather's a threat, so these guys are turning up the wick on their pace.
These truck guys, they always have a sense of urgency, though, from the time we drop the green flag.
Remember the 17 not being where it needs to be from a handling perspective? Here's Timothy Peters in the 7th position, but he's got company from another Toyota, Johnny Sauter, looking inside.
A nice move by Johnny Sauter, trying to overcome losing 4 spots on pit road. Looks like he has a good truck. They made some adjustments to that truck. Doug George and the guys. Johnny's able to make that pass on Timothy Peters.
Cameron Haley there as well, and Suarez coming strong behind him.
That's what I love about the truck series. We've got a dominant truck in Eric Jones, and he's got a comfortable lead. But everywhere you look on the racetrack, other than that, they're 2 and 3 wide. Is it going to work?
I'm glad we didn't have to find out there.
Well, we might still not know the answer, Phil. They're going to try to get on the back.
Suarez.
You're going to wreck somebody. They don't want to be you.
A little more patient on the spotter stand than they are behind the wheel. Suarez able to get around Cameron Haley in the 13.
It's hard to hold that truck back when it's good, when it's driving good.
I think the other thing is there's always a sense of urgency on a restart, Michael, because you know you got to go get all you can get before they get spread out. 53 laps complete. Eric Jones has led 49 of those, and he's out front right now. It's Eric Jones, Matt Crafton, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Newman, Justin Boston, the top 5. We're 58 laps in of the 167 that make up tonight's 250-miler at Kansas Speedway for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And while we were away, problems for Ben Kennedy. There's debris on the grill, and then there's debris on the grill.
Yeah, the thing got too hot before Ben got it to pit road.
Road speed right here, guys. Coming to you.
Yeah,
And,
it's over now.
Yeah, that's the most extreme circumstance I've seen of a piece of debris on the grill. His whole nose was covered up by one of the tear-offs off the windshield of another truck. And you can see the smoke out the pipes. That thing's blown up.
Yeah, what a tough break. You can see that's a tear-off off somebody's windshield on that grill. At least 75–80% of his grill opening was shut off there. You see the steam coming out. They came in, they hooked the machine to it that purged it of all the air and filled it back up with water. But as you mentioned, Michael, I think the damage was done. We went back on the racetrack, ran a couple laps, and then the thing started smoking.
Tough break for Ben Kennedy. Top 10 earlier this season, top 5 in fact, matching his career best run, 3rd at the only other mile and a half at Atlanta. Teammates going at it here for 6. Daniel Suarez drives underneath his rookie teammate Justin Boston.
How good of a story is that? We've seen the potential of Daniel Suarez running the Xfinity Series and here in the trucks. But Justin Boston showed up here and running inside the top 10 for Kyle Busch Motorsports. That's a great run.
Yeah, he was 10th at Martinsville.
Yeah, and Suarez all over the back of Johnny Sauter, too. There he is right there. Good battle.
Starting to get the feel that as you get some heat in the tires and the run continues, that 51 might be a truck we need to keep an eye on. He's looking good right now, Vince.
Well, just his 2nd race on a mile-and-a-half track, and he told me earlier today he didn't really know what to expect from the race here at Kansas. He said the one thing he does know for sure is he's becoming more comfortable and more confident thanks to that extra seat time in the Xfinity Series. He said Jerry Baxter, the crew chief you see there on the right, and the team are way ahead of him. He says, I feel like they're much better than I am at this point. I'm gaining on it, but I know I've got good stuff under me.
Jerry Baxter has nothing but praise for that young man, the job he does behind the wheel of that truck. And that's an experienced veteran in Jerry Baxter on that pit box, and that's just what Daniel Suarez needs. And when a guy like Jerry Baxter has confidence in you, that just builds your confidence.
We saw what it did with Jerry Baxter and Bubba Wallace over the last couple of years, too.
And ironically enough, Suarez, who drives underneath Sauter here and picks up the position. Jerry Baxter worked with Darrell Wallace Jr. last couple of years. This year, working with Daniel Suarez. It's those two drivers that are going toe-to-toe for Rookie of the Year honors in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. What's going on, Hermie?
Well, Adam, we saw the bad luck for Ben Kennedy. Debris on the nose of his truck basically blew his engine, where the 19 of Tyler Reddick had a similar scare. A plastic piece of tear-off was on the front nose area of the 19. Water temperature went up past 280 degrees, but they were able to get behind the 88 of Matt Crafton. That debris did come off. The temperatures are slowly coming back down, but we'll see if that has any long-term effect on the 19 of Tyler Reddick.
Well, we saw it with Ben Kennedy. The report from Hermie on Tyler Reddick, and perhaps some debris on the grill of our race leader, Erik Jones.
We're hearing that possibly Eric's been complaining about overheating. Let's see if we can take a look at his grill. It's hard to tell. Looks like there might be some debris on there, Michael.
Oh, he's got a break if there is. There's a yellow.
Spencer Gallagher out of control.
Got into the outside wall just a little bit.
Was running in the 14th position, third caution of the night.
That's the second truck from GMS that's got into the outside wall. Brendan Jones being the other one.
Tyler Tanner, once again, the first truck one lap down. He will get the free pass. Scored right now in the 16th position.
See, but the very back of the pack, they're running in the middle of the racetrack, just a little bit too free. All the talk in the garage areas we see all the time is this racetrack, when we practice during the day, qualifying during the day, race at night, the track will free up. We've heard a lot of reports from a lot of different teams that these trucks are pretty loose. Obviously, that was another situation right there for Spencer Gallagher.
When you wondered home what loose looks like, that's it. That's a perfect picture of just a truck stepping out, sliding around. Now that he's slowed down, it does appear on that, maybe on the left front. Is that some extra debris right there?
Yeah, absolutely, I think it is. So this is a great opportunity for them to get to pit road.
That's
and again, we've been 23 laps since we stopped.
Pit here?
He's going to have to stop.
Right. But as a group, are you thinking strategy-wise that this wouldn't be the window that you would want to pit in, and he's trying to avoid it, you would think, because he's pulled up behind the pace truck trying to get that debris off.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw it fly off, guys.
And I think he did.
I think it did. What an outstanding job. I just didn't know if they would be going fast enough for that to work. We see guys do that at speed all the time, but it certainly did work for Erik Jones right there.
Wonder how high his temperatures got. We didn't see any water spewing from it like we saw the Ben Kennedy truck. Watch this debris. You see it there on the left front corner, and it'll fly off.
Yep, there it goes.
Right there.
Nice job.
Just the changes the pressure on the nose, and away the debris went. I think that's a great shot too, guys. Look how high that truck is on the left front right there, running under caution pace. When we go back to racing, that front end just sucks right to the ground.
It'll be about 3/8 of an inch off the ground.
Shows you how smart these teams are. They think of everything. That truck has to go through inspection at that height, but when it goes to the road, it doesn't know that height anymore.
You talked about whether they would want to come in now. They can make that decision without having to come in because it was overheating.
I think I want some gas.
I think I want to come in and top off anyway. I may want to save my tires,
for
a little bit later.
Pit for fuel.
But we're close to halfway through a fuel run here. I think we got to stop.
Yeah. Of course, every time I try to predict that,
I think Erik was going to stay out, so everybody coming behind him and said, I better come too. They're on pit road under caution, Hermie.
Well, Adam, Doug Randolph is the crew chief for Tyler Reddick. He says he wants to get 4 tires here to maybe give them an opportunity to get 2 tires maybe later on tonight. The truck's a little bit tight, so it'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and a track bar adjustment for the 19. Vince?
Well, the 88 of Matt Crafton, Matt's concerned about the fact he feels like he's got a left rear loose, so they're going to take a good look at that. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Crafton. Now, on the bottom of the screen, Erik Jones are going to wait on fuel, but it's right sides only for Erik Jones as he gets off pit road.
A little strategy there. Ryan Newman going fuel only. He wins the battle off the pit lane. Second in that category, Johnny Sauter. Or was it Erik Jones? We'll look at the tape when we come back. 97 laps to go. The 250-miler tonight for the Camping World Truck Series here at Kansas Speedway with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Adam Alexander. Happy to have you with us on a Friday night here on Fox Sports 1. Vince Welsh, Hermie Sadler working pit road for us tonight. Little strategy game for Ryan Newman. Elects to go fuel only, gets the race lead. Eric Jones, who's led so much tonight, the second off of pit road.
Yeah, we talked earlier about these Goodyear tires, how strategy were going to be a part of this story. And you can see Eric Jones slides to a stop in his pit. Watch the fuel man. The truck just slid by where he anticipated it starting. He didn't get the fuel flowing as soon as he needed to.
Actually had to pull back out and go back in because it was only going to take one cam because they'd only run about 23 laps.
And you see they decided to take 2 tires while they're waiting on fuel. So that team could have easily spun around there and got the other 2. But I don't think you need them. I think 2 tires is fine. I don't think there's necessarily a performance advantage in 4 tires. We'll see as this race wears on.
And I think they're better off when that happened. Instead of changing it up during the middle of the pit stop and say, okay, let's do 4, then the guys wouldn't be ready for that. He probably would have lost a bunch of positions.
And you saw Jones slide a bit through his intended stopping point. That fuel man is trusting that truck is going to stop right where it's supposed to, and that delayed his getting hooked up in time.
He knows where it's supposed to stop to the inch.
Green flag as we finish up lap 71. Outside lane, the control truck, race leader Ryan Newman.
The 8 truck of Ryan Newman didn't get a push from John West Townley. We know how important the draft is here. If Townley gets a good start, gives Newman a push, it could have helped him. But instead, Eric Jones from the bottom to the lead again.
And Johnny Sauter, who restarted in the 3rd position, now knocking on the door of 2nd. He's side by side with Newman. And here comes Tyler Reddick in that 19 making some noise.
I think Johnny Sauter's bunch has made his truck better. Tyler Reddick has been pretty good in this backup truck since the drop of the green flag.
Little strategy for John West Townley. You mentioned him on the restart, but Michael, he's settled into 4th, as good as they've been all night long.
Yeah, he's been running some consistent lap times, just needed that track position, and now he's getting it. You can see, look at the bottom of the racetrack. Johnny Sauter is trying to take that 2nd spot away from Newman. We also heard earlier Johnny Sauter giving a real detailed description of what was wrong with his truck and what he needed to be better. Looks like they've given it to him.
Right along in the Chevrolet onboard for Ryan Newman. Nice pit strategy. No tires. Got him the lead. Right now he currently runs in the 2nd spot. Good side-by-side battle there between Reddick. Here's 3 wide. Justin Boston on the inside.
Got Matt Crafton in that mix as well.
He about spun down in 3 and 4. Looks like his truck is really loose after that last pit stop. They took 4 tires, lost some track position. Looks like the tires don't agree with the setup of the truck either.
Look at the battle for 4th. Haven't mentioned the name of Scott Lagacy tonight, driving that 31 for NTS. Finished inside the top 5 at Daytona earlier this year. Going to run that truck next week in Charlotte. Impressive run so far here tonight at Kansas.
I was talking to Scott right before qualifying. This deal came really, really late. They had really lined up James Busher to drive this 31 truck, who finished in the top 10 all 3 races. They got some sponsorship from Scott here at the last minute, and here he is doing a great job.
I love watching this, too. You get an opportunity like Lagacy got here late in the week and take advantage of it like this. That's amazing.
Justin Boston inside of Cameron Haley. Battle for 11th on track. How about a couple of spots in front of them? Daniel Hemrick showing a good effort in the early going.
Yeah, we haven't talked a whole lot about Daniel, but he's been solid this entire race. Stayed right around the top 10, had a good qualifying effort in that 14 truck for NTS.
Reddick goes outside of John West Townley.
And he's going to bring Daniel Suarez along with him as well. Townley stuck on the bottom. The truck gets really loose down there. Townley almost gets into Suarez.
Wow, that was close.
I think Suarez's spotter needs to tell him to give these guys a little bit more room on the inside.
Yes, I agree, because that's the 2nd time that Suarez has nearly been wiped out.
Hey, if you can come to 1.5 miles and run with Matt Crafton, that's got to build your confidence. Daniel Hemrick Doing a really nice job tonight. 9th right now.
Everybody has a lot of energy for this young man. The ability he has shown in Legends car racing, short track racing all over the Southeast, and to come here in the truck, qualify where he did inside the top 5, and now racing these guys for a position. Timothy Peters, Phil, how tough is it for Peters? He's talked about how loose that truck is, as we see Newman probably getting loose there, battling Johnny Sauter for second. But how hard is it for Peters, knowing he's got a truck on the edge of control, but needing to go because this is a short race?
Certainly is. We've only have 90 laps to go in this race.
Timothy Peters going in the wrong direction again. Saw Daniel Hemrick in front of him. Here's Cameron Haley waiting in line next, the 54 of Justin Boston.
Yeah, I think right now Timothy Peters needs a couple more adjustments, at least one strong one, as Haley jumps to the inside of Hemrick.
Here's Suarez underneath of Scott Lagasse. They've been working that outside lane. Little crossover for Daniel Suarez, who's trying to get back inside the top 5.
He's got a strong horse under him. He's been able to drive through some guys and really making some good progress. He's got to be careful down there on the bottom. We've talked about that a lot. These rookies, sometimes you don't know what it's going to do until you feel it, and then it's too late. But that's a great job there. He puts it right on that white line and is able to keep his truck off of Scott Lagasse Jr. as they exit the turn.
Meanwhile, Matt Crafton is on his way up back towards the front, getting by John West Townley in the 05, Vince.
Well, it's been a bit of an issue for Crafton. You know, he came in on that pit stop. He said he felt like he had a left rear issue, but the crew checked it, said no, all 4 tires were on tight and looked good when they took them off. And then on this restart, he said the car was way too loose on entry. Michael noted that he had a handful, had to make a big save. Starting to come to him a little bit, but it didn't start off very good, that's for sure, as he lost a few spots.
Matt Crafton, one of 3 drivers to lead laps here tonight. Eric Jones has been out front for 74 laps. The Dominator has a 3-second advantage over second place Johnny Sauter. It's been quite a start to 2015 for Eric Jones. Doesn't seem to matter where he goes, it equals success. You look at his career, he's been good everything he's been able to get behind the wheel of, Phil.
Yeah, from the very start, too. He really started out Snowball Derby, won a couple times, and Kyle Busch said, hey, I like this kid. He beat me. I want him to drive for me. And man, it's been on a fast track ever since.
Yeah, he subbed for Denny at Bristol and kept that car out of trouble, paced himself all the way to the finish line, and now that win he had in Texas, passing Brad Keselowski late to take that victory. What an amazing job there, and it just continues. Fastest in Cup final practice. How about that?
Well, and to make the final round of qualifying, first time you've been to a venue, first time really you've been behind a Cup car, because the comparison of Bristol and Kansas certainly not close.
Yeah, and look at this great battle. That's Ryan Newman right there running second. Then you got Tyler Reddick, Johnny Sauter, Daniel Suarez, all right there. And oh, by the way, 6 seconds in front of Ryan Newman is our leader, Eric Jones.
But Suarez and Sauter have been coming with a bullet. They've run down the 19 truck of Reddick, and both those trucks are showing a lot of pace right now. And again, we talked about the adjustments Johnny Sauter made. We see how much improved that truck is. Maybe he's an adjustment away from being able to run with Eric Jones.
Yeah, right now, Eric, a full straightaway ahead of this battle for second. Matt Crafton's also closing in on that group.
Yeah, that truck was loose, as Vince reported down on pit road. He's got it up under him now, and he's charging up toward the top 5. Good pass there by Justin Boston. Boston makes his way up around Daniel Hemrick into the top 10. So continuing an impressive performance tonight for Boston.
How about Mason Mingus back there right behind Timothy Peters, doing a nice job right now, running 13th for Billy Boat.
You think about when Mason Mingus made the move over to drive for Billy Boat, Las Vegas last year. Their program has gotten better and better. I think a nice partnership there, and understand we'll see Chad Boat driving some races in the Camping World Truck Series later this season. And Michael, you and I saw Chad last week in the Xfinity race at Talladega. Just missed one accident. Could have very well finished inside the top 10.
Yeah, anytime you can pace along with Timothy Peters, even if his truck is a little bit off, well, that's a great night for you. That's what Hemrick's doing. Looks like Peters maybe is starting to heat up Hemrick, and that's exactly what Mason Mingus is doing, trying to follow Timothy Peters toward the front. These trucks running just outside the top 10.
Eric Jones seems to have no weaknesses tonight, Vince.
This may be bad news for everybody else, but Eric Jones just told his crew chief, Rudy Fugel, this is really good. In fact, it's the best it's been all night. Remember, Eric Jones has fresh rubber. Ryan Newman doesn't. That lead continues to grow, now approaching 7 seconds for the 18-year-old Eric Jones.
And Vince, here's a stat that the competition won't like either. This is the 4th time that Eric Jones has led more than 40 laps in Camping World Truck Series competition. The previous 3 all resulted in trips to victory lane. And in case you're wondering, last year when Kyle Busch won here, he led just over 100 laps. Eric's led 86 of our first 92 tonight.
Yeah, he's well on his way to leading a lot more than that.
How good does it have to be to beat Kyle Busch and see what his team is doing and how well they're performing, and also getting in a car a couple of weeks ago and getting some practicing in. So Kyle's on his way back.
He's got to be enjoying what he's seeing tonight. It continues to be the Eric Jones show for the Camping World Truck Series at Kansas Speedway. 4th race of the year, 2nd on a 1.5 miles. And if Eric Jones can continue the theme that we've seen so far, it would be his 2nd win on a 1.5 mile track in Camping World Truck Series competition. Got the victory last September in Las Vegas, and you can see there just how large his lead is.
Yeah, he's got 8 seconds over second, and second doesn't have 8 seconds over 7. So Eric Jones is driving away, but there's a great battle behind him. You can see there Ryan Newman is running second. Tyler Reddick closing a bit on the back of Newman. Suarez, and then Crafton as well.
You know, Ryan Newman's really done a nice job without changing tires, and it's a worst possible scenario when you put fuel in a truck and don't change tires. That's the worst possible scenario. He's doing a nice job managing that.
And we go another 12, 15 laps here. We're going to be in the window where these guys can pit and go the distance. So a lot of calculations happening down in the pit lane as these teams prepare their strategy for the final stages.
And I think those tires that Matt Crafton put on his truck are starting to pay some dividends. We saw him fall back at the restart, lose some spots, but now he's driven into the top 5 and consistently running the 2nd best lap times on the track. So he's able to be in Ryan Newman's mirror here in another few laps.
Watch Ryan Newman left side of your screen. Watch him lean against that headrest when he gets in the corners. There's so much grip in this racetrack, so much centrifugal force. He's using that headrest to hold his head up. Then he gets on the straightaway, and his head moves back over to the left.
Watch him work that wheel, too. He's going to turn it down in the corner and then just hold it to the left, but working it just on the edge of control. You can see just turning to the right a little bit. That's a good handling truck right there. That might tell you something about that Ford truck that Eric Jones is driving there. If that's all the effort that it's taking Newman to run, this truck's strong.
Let's go back through the field, find out what's happening with those guys running in the top 10. We start with our race leader, Eric Jones, and send it down to Vince Welsh.
Well, Adam, it has been smooth sailing for Eric Jones. He has dominated this race. Really, their biggest scare came earlier when they had some debris on the grill and the temps began to rise. But then right on cue, they got a yellow. That saved them. But still, they're not taking it for granted. Talking strategy about the next pit stop.
So long race. We only got 1 set left, so you're probably going to have to put all 4 of them on. It's just how we're going to play it. We got to last. We can make it just to go backwards. 1 more stop, just get there. So we'll probably have to stop twice more. Put 4 on one time and get fuel only one time. But now it plays out.
But the truck, as we told you just a moment ago, is handling great as Eric Jones continues to build that lead, which is almost, now it is 10 seconds over Ryan Newman. Now, as far as Newman is concerned, he's just bought a little bit of a tick-free truck throughout the course of this race tonight. But remember, on that last pit stop at lap 68, they took fuel only. His tires a lot older than the tires Eric Jones is working with. Hermie?
Well, Vince, what a day it's been for Tyler Reddick, currently in the 3rd position. He started shotgun on the field in a backup truck after a qualifying crash earlier this afternoon at Kansas Speedway. He did come in last time down pit road. He put on 4 tires. He really likes his truck. Just needs a little bit of track position. They're thinking about possibly a 2-tire stop in about 15 laps for the 19, Vince.
And in the 4th position is Daniel Suarez, that orange truck there, and what an impressive run it's been for Suarez. He's running full-time in the Xfinity Series this year, rookie there, running 13 dates in the trucks, and he is really eating up the learning curve. Says it has been a great experience for him. He's had 3 top 10 finishes through 3 races and just keeps getting better and better. Tonight has been no different. And right behind him, the 88 of Matt Crafton. He's finished 1st and 2nd in this race each of the last 2 years, but he hasn't had the truck that has been able to get him to the front tonight. Been battling a loose truck, thought they had a loose wheel at one point, still got work to do, Hermie.
His teammate Johnny Sauter also has work to do. Vince currently 6th. He qualified 7th. Now he started up towards the front on this most recent restart due to a little bit of pit strategy, but right now his truck is a little bit too tight. He fought a loose condition earlier tonight, a little bit on the tight side right now. He's looking forward to having an opportunity to come down pit road, make an adjustment, and take one more shot at a win here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Behind him on the racetrack is the 05 of John West Townley. A solid move through the field from a 15th starting position. He's up to 7th on the racetrack. He's been pretty quiet on the track about his truck, but a lot of veteran leadership. Mike Shelton is his crew chief. He currently sits 6th in points. Doing a good job so far tonight is John West Townley. Cameron Haley, also a solid job for him on the racetrack tonight. Currently 8th position on the racetrack in this number 13. This is his first Kansas start. They've been a little bit free for the 13. Looking forward to getting back down pit road, making an adjustment, getting him a little bit snug. We'll snug him up a little bit for the final run. Justin Boston, also a good run for him. He's currently inside the top 10 and 9th right now. Remember, if they have to come down pit road on a green flag pit stop, Justin Boston will have to be careful. No tack working on the 54, so he will have to basically be on the conservative side coming down pit road, Vince.
Well, and rounding out the top 10 is Scott Lagasse Jr. As we see, we've got a yellow on track, and we'll go back upstairs down.
Some smoke coming out of the back end of the 07 of Ray Black Jr. Was running inside the top 14. Final was running 13th, actually. The final truck on the lead lap. This caution coming with 58 laps to go. This is a little bit of a dangerous time because you're on the outside edge of that window of being able to go the distance.
Yeah, I think once you make your pit stop, your crew chief's going to be hollering, save me some gas, save me some gas. We talk about the pit window being somewhere between 50 and 55 laps. A few caution laps will help that. We may see some guys, especially towards the back of the lead lap, come in and top off there when they give them one to go.
Another strong run for Ray Black Jr. doing a great job tonight. His engine goes up in smoke. That's the end of another promising performance for that young man.
With the pace that Eric Jones been setting, for him to be on the lead lap at this portion of the race really says a lot. Tough break for Ray Black Jr.
And Eric Jones had almost a 12-second lead, and that's gone out the window now. And with strategy, I'm sure most of these teams now feel that will get 4 tires and be done with tires for tonight. We've seen trucks perform well on used tires, so then it'll just be a matter of have I got enough gas to get there.
Thinking about Matt Crafton, who on his last pit stop got 4. Was that a move to set them up to have some options here, or with this many laps to go, do you have to get 4 for the stretch?
Well, I think you've run so long on this set, plus the amount of laps left to go, they'll get 4 again. And then everybody, like Phil said, start saving fuel. And maybe if you're in the back half of that top lead lap trucks, you come to pit road and get you some fuel right at the end of this caution flag period.
Right now, we only have 13 trucks on the lead lap. We'll get one more because of the waiver of the lucky dog. So right now, you have Timothy Peters running in 11th spot. You know, unless he does a unless his guys beat 5 or 6 people out, why not come back in, dump a little fuel in it? Because I think we're going to be right on the borderline where guys can make it and some of them won't make it.
Well, pit road was not open that time, and that's good for these teams from this perspective. Every lap you make around under caution with pit road not being open, it's a lap closer to getting you into your window to be able to go the distance. And right now they're going to be scheduled to pit with 55 laps remaining. And when we put our pit window up, we looked at our Camping World race analysis at the start of this race, pit window 50 to 55.
Right now these guys are hoping it's closer to 55.
Pits will be open this time by Eric Jones, the only time he's been passed all night long was in the pits through strategy and differing plans on pit road. He's been able to beat everyone on the restarts and has led every green flag lap. He's just had a couple of caution flags that he didn't lead.
Top 5 entering pit road. Eric Jones, Ryan Newman, Daniel Suarez, who had gotten around Tyler Reddick. Reddick is 4th. Matt Crafton, the final truck inside the top 5. Pit stops with 55 to go. Here they are, Hermie.
Adam, Tyler Reddick reports to his crew chief, Doug Randolph, that his truck is tight. They will free the truck up with a track bar adjustment. It will be 4 tires, but remember, the right side tires will be about 14 laps, Gus. Stickers for the left. We'll see if it affects the balance on the 19. Vince?
Well, in the truck right there in the middle of the screen belongs to Ryan Newman. He says he needs to be a little bit tighter, but he doesn't want any big adjustments. Remember, they didn't take any tires on that last stop, so it's going to be 4 tires this time around. Close to fuel from here for Eric Jones. Crew chief Rudy Fugel told his team, we've got to be full on fuel when we leave. 4 tire change for the 4 of Eric Jones, who's dominated this one, but Tyler Reddick will be first off pit road.
Not the first time we've seen that 19 bunch get it done. He goes from 4th to the lead on the pit lane. We'll reset the running order when we return to Kansas. We are only 8 days away from the Sprint All-Star Race, and you can help get one driver in the field. Vote at NASCAR.com/Sprint Fan Vote or on the NASCAR mobile app. And by voting, you can also register to win a trip for 2 to the chase race of your choice later this year. Vote now, NASCAR.com/Sprint Fan Vote, and watch the race next Saturday night right here on Fox Sports 1.
If you share that via Facebook or Twitter, it counts double.
Yeah, and that vote matters. Remember Casey Kane got voted in the All-Star race?
Okay,
so
bad
break for Ryan Newman.
Watch this. That guy has to get that tire. You see him point at it, that's too late. He has to get that tire. That's his job, to get that tire, and that's going to put Ryan Newman to the back here on this restart.
13 trucks on the lead lap, but Newman, with the penalty, goes to the tail end of the longest line. He'll restart somewhere around the 20th position. He's going to have some ground to make up when we go back under green.
Tyler, why he didn't come to pit road and get some more gas, top off on that truck. We think these trucks are right on the verge of making it. We've seen Eric Jones fall to 2nd on every restart, but has been able to take the lead away from the guy that was on the pole. See if he can do it again.
Reddick in that outside lane. Right behind him, Daniel Suarez, Matt Crafton back in the mix, restarted 3rd.
Remember, these guys are equal footing right now. Just about every one of them got 4 tires on this pit stop.
But Tyler Reddick's a little more out of balance. Hermie talked about that.
Yeah, scuffed right sides, new left for Tyler Reddick.
Eric Jones is trying to clear Reddick, but Reddick is doing a great job hanging on the outside. He's still in position, and Daniel Suarez is now pushing behind Jones.
Look at Newman, made it 3 wide through the tri-oval.
He knows he has to make up ground right now if he's going to try to stay in contact with Eric Jones, our leader.
Jones in the lead, Reddick outside of Suarez, Townley there with Crafton right behind him.
That's the 3rd time, Phil, we've seen them stick Eric Jones down on the bottom. We talk about how tough it is to make a pass down there. He's done it every time, just like the last pass he made in the Xfinity Series down there at Texas to win that race, right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Great job by Eric Jones.
How about that Zaxby's Chevrolet right there for John West Townley, that 05 truck running inside the top 5 here. What a nice run for him.
You know, and this all could have gone away in qualifying. He nearly was involved in that Brad Keselowski Racing teammates crash that we had during that session. And now he's battling for the 4th spot inside of Matt Crafton.
Yeah, running 5th and not satisfied and taking on one of the best in the business when it comes to 1.5-mile tracks. The 05 of John West Townley underneath Matt Crafton, who won this race 2 years ago.
Townley's working the middle of the track. He needs to dive to the bottom, hug that white line, and keep his truck as far away from Crafton as he can get it.
That's exactly what he's doing. He may have him cleared, because he does. He has him cleared.
P4. Let's go get the other 3.
That might be a little optimistic, but I like that cheerleading. That's the spotter cheering him on. Tell him to go get him now.
By the way, that spotter's a former winner here in the Truck Series, Terry Cook.
But look at the battle heating back up on the inside as Crafton wobbles off turn 4 and pulls to the inside of Townley.
How difficult is it for drivers on the inside that use that apron to then drive back up onto the racing surface and hit your marks going into turn 1.
That's not that hard. These guys are professionals. What's hard is when you get to turn 1, Adam, and you've got to run side by side through there wide open. You can see Johnny Sauter elected to go high behind Townley and pushed him ahead of Crafton and takes that 5th spot away from Crafton.
Hey, Ryan Newman didn't let that penalty bother him. Here he is outside of Matt Crafton, put the 8 truck back in the 6th position, driving strong for Joe Nemechek and company tonight.
Remember, that's the first time that he's had 4 fresh tires on this truck in a long time.
You know, we talk about the adjustments. Look at Tyler Reddick. Look at Daniel Suarez. They have not let Eric Jones drive away from them. These guys have gotten their trucks better and better. In fact, Tyler Reddick's fastest lap of the entire race was just 2 laps ago on 118 when he ran a speed comparable to Eric Jones's fastest lap. So these trucks are better, and they're charging.
Here comes Newman trying to get by the 88 at Crafton.
I don't think he liked the way he entered the corner there. He's a little bit sideways and knew that he couldn't push it. Laid off of Crafton as they enter the corner and will ride behind him down the back.
A little bit shallow entry because of Crafton being there.
There you see the battle for the top 3. Eric Jones leads, right behind him Tyler Reddick, and then it's the 51 of Daniel Suarez, Vince.
Well, in one of the instances, as we talked about how good Suarez has run tonight, is the fact that he's still relatively inexperienced sometimes when it comes to pit lane. And on that last pit stop, the crew was wanting to hold him to make sure, as you watch here, that they got it full of fuel. He got a little antsy, went too soon. They didn't have the jack out from under the car yet. Broke the jack, a brand new jack being used for the first time tonight. Cost him a couple of spots on pit road, but once he got back out there, he picked those up, and he's still now within a second of the lead. Impressive on-track performance from the 51 of Suarez.
And, you know, that's why these young guys, they're such students of the game. They're going to watch this broadcast on Fox Sports 1. They're going to see some of the moves other rookies maybe made that didn't pay off. He's going to see the mistake he made there on pit road. He'll be that much better next time he goes to the track.
I'm going to tell you guys, if you look at the lap times, Tyler Reddick is as strong right now as he's been all night long, and he's not letting Eric Jones get away. Into the 4th quarter of our 4th race of the year for the Camping World Truck Series at Kansas Speedway. Eric Jones leads Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, John West Townley, and Matt Crafton now the final truck inside the top 5. These guys last pitted with 55 laps to go. We know it's close on fuel. Let's hear from the leaders team.
Right now, well, we've been calculating 4-0. If we get the long green flag row, we just got to save. We get out far enough we can save, you know. But I don't know. We're short. Probably have to. If we get a quick caution, we got to come back down and top off. I think. I don't know. I think we could make it now. We got a little bit better mileage that last run. Can everybody? I don't know. I bet it's probably hit and miss.
And right now, Matt Crafton's in a great place because he's drafting off John West Townley. And the plan that Rudy Fugle and Eric Jones had to get out front and save some gas, Tyler Reddick's messing that up. He's keeping the pressure on that Ford truck, so Eric Jones is having to run hard. Or is he? Or is that the reason why he's just a few truck lengths ahead of Reddick?
Yeah, and if he can only get 4.0, then that's not going to be enough to run 55 laps. So somehow he's going to have to get some better fuel mileage.
And there would be some irony if it's Tyler Reddick who's able to save the most fuel and get to victory lane. Remember 2011 here, I think it was? Brad Keselowski driving that 2 car, able to save a bunch of fuel and get a Sprint Cup win on a Sunday afternoon in Kansas. If you're just joining us on a Friday night, Camping World Truck Series live at Kansas Speedway. 31 laps to go in a race that has been dominated by 18-year-old Eric Jones. He has now led 127 laps, closing on what would be his most dominant win in the Truck Series. And Tyler Reddick, who was hanging tough since that last restart after gaining the top spot on pit road, starting to fade a bit. The advantage for Jones now over a second.
Yeah, and also Daniel Suarez lap times have fallen off quite a lot too. And there's a spirited battle between John West Townley and Matt Crafton. Matt's been all the way inside of Townley a couple of times, and they've gotten really close to making contact. I think Matt's got a lot faster truck right now than John West, but he's just tiptoeing a bit because they've been close to making contact, like I said.
Yeah, this battle's been going on for a number of laps here.
There we go. Matt said, if I'm not going to be able to get under you, I'm going to go around. Oh, not so quick, you're not. Really hard racing.
All over the place here, bud.
I would concur with the spotter on that one. That was John West Townley's spotter saying that Crafton's been looking everywhere. Look at the strong run.
Good run off the corner.
He's going to flare to the wide side, it looks like. Try to get her on the outside of Townley again. Watch these two.
It looked like he really did a good job of pulling up to that back bumper, maximizing the draft, but couldn't use the momentum to flare to the outside and go by him.
I thought he might want to get him loose there a little bit.
Yeah, and that's touch and go when you get a truck loose here at Kansas as fast as we're going.
As the battle for fourth continues on, Eric Jones pulling away at the front. His advantage over Tyler Reddick, 1.67 with 27 laps to go. Eric Jones continues in charge here at the Kansas Speedway. 22 laps remaining. Tyler Reddick is second. Daniel Suarez is third. Matt Crafton was able to get around John West Townley for fourth. Townley now running in the fifth position. And as we go to 21 laps to go, the big question mark, Hermie, can they go the distance on fuel?
Well, Doug Randolph has been telling his driver, Tyler Reddick, he thinks they can make it. He's not sure about the drivers he's racing for the win. Listen to the radio of the 19.
Total focus, nice and smooth. 51 back there saving gas. We're just going to keep pushing this forward till he runs out.
They feel like if they can keep a little bit of pressure on the 4 to pushing the run out of fuel, but the 4 right now has gotten away from the 19 a little bit, Vince.
And behind the 19 is the 51 of Daniel Suarez, and he is also just inside of 4 seconds behind the leader, and he's also trying to conserve some fuel. Listen to the radio.
I hate to back him off a bunch, and then we end up having a caution and shoot ourselves in the foot, but I don't think backing him off is going to save 2 laps. No, I don't either, and probably the worst thing we need to do is slip back into grasp of that 05 and 88.
There you heard it, about 2 laps short at that time of the radio communication. One thing to keep in mind, if they can save, they can gamble a little bit. This is a team not running for the Drivers' Championship. It's a part-time ride for Suarez in that 51.
And Vince, now our Camping World 20 to go. Everybody keeping an eye on the fuel gauge, and one team that could be really feeling good at this stage of the race, the 13 of Cameron Haley, scored in the 11th position, but let's not forget, under that last caution, they came back down and topped off. They are 2 laps to the good compared to everybody else on the lead lap. So if in fact these guys can't go the distance and they're a lap or 2 short, could open up for Cameron Haley.
And that was 2 caution laps, though. That probably equates to about 1 green flag lap. But right now, Eric Jones, he opened up about a 3-second lead here, and we wondered if he was going to have enough fuel. We heard them talking about getting 4 miles to the gallon. That would not be enough to go 55 laps, but just a few moments ago, there was some radio conversation between Rudy Fugle and his driver, Eric Jones. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, he said that they needed him to run some 3150s. At that time, he came across the line, ran a 3170. Said pick it up to a 50, and I think we'll be fine. That's what Eric Jones is doing. Last time by, 3154. The truck to watch is Matt Crafton. He's closing in on the top 3, and he could be a player.
Even at this reduced pace, Eric Jones is still maintaining at least a 3-second lead because everybody behind him is not able to run any faster than that.
He's now led 141 of our 167 laps. 16 to go at Kansas. 155 of 167 laps complete for the Camping World Truck Series. It's the 4th race of the year happening at Kansas Speedway. And in walking through the garage yesterday, talking to teams, they said, I believe that 4 is in its own zip code. Eric Jones answering the bell tonight, starting on the pole, and he's led 145 laps.
But does he have enough fuel to get to the end?
I love this. It's going to come right down to the wire. Eric Jones got a fast truck. Fast trucks burn a little bit more gas than the rest of the guys.
They can't. Everybody's going to try to make it. Somebody's going to make it. You just got to try. Be ready with everything down there when it runs out. If it does, I think it'll do it. All the tows you grab off these lappers are going to help you.
looking for a draft off of lappers. That's the toe he's talking about. And Phil, this truck isn't running at the same pace he was earlier when he stretched out that 10-second lead. So he's definitely saving that team some fuel. That's a smart young racer. He understands rolling off that gas just any at all in each of the corners will just help the fuel mileage. But you can see Matt Crafton has closed in on that battle for second. His truck is really strong. John West Townley still hanging in there in the 5th spot. Crafton's closing as well.
It's been a record-setting night for Eric Jones. He is now 147 laps led, the most ever in a mile-and-a-half race in Camping World Truck Series competition.
Guys, remember Texas last year, Matt Crafton, we said there was no way anybody could make it the rest of the race. Everybody was short on fuel. Everyone stopped for fuel except Matt Crafton, and he did make it and got to victory lane.
The only time a driver won a mile-and-a-half race in 2014 outside of Kyle Busch Motorsports.
And you can see he's drafting. He's getting a lot of tow, not only on one truck, but on 2 trucks. The more trucks ahead of you, the bigger the draft that you're able to suck up on. And Crafton's taking advantage of that right now. I think he's got a truck fast enough. Maybe he could pass these two. He could be saving that all-important last drop of fuel right now.
Yeah, he doesn't know for sure that these 2 guys are going to be able to make it on fuel or the 4 truck of Eric Jones.
And we're down inside of 10 to go. And that's not enough lead to be comfortable, especially when you know you're short on fuel.
And keeping in mind, 3 of our top 4 in the running order, all a part of the championship chase. Matt Crafton came into the night 2 points in front of Tyler Reddick. Crafton right now scored in the 4th position. Reddick is running 2nd. And of course, Eric Jones, who leads this thing, came in 6 points out in NASCAR Camping World Truck Series points.
They're going to be glad Suarez is running the Xfinity Series for the championship, Bill, because that kid is the real deal, and he's getting ready to put another great finish in the books.
What's happening with our leader, Vince?
Boy, it's really a team effort between the driver, Eric Jones, the spotter, Tony Hirschman, and the crew chief, Rudy Fugel. They're giving him his lap times and also how much he's leading by. But at the same time, you hear the urgency in the voice of the crew chief, Rudy Fugel, asking Eric Jones, slow down a little bit, save me a little, get a tow off that truck in front of you. He's starting to shake it. Is he running out of fuel? Eric Jones shaking that truck as he's getting low. They're out of fuel, Adam.
And I just saw Daniel Hemrick come down pit road, an indication that these guys probably don't have enough fuel. There goes Eric Jones to the pit lane. New race leader Tyler Reddick. 5 laps to go here at Kansas.
I saw Eric Jones dump it up in neutral when he ran out of gas.
Now he's going to have to be careful not to speed. Maybe he's got enough fuel to be in 2nd gear right now, knowing what his RPMs are, but that's really dangerous coming down pit road with the truck in neutral.
Now how about this battle for the lead on the right side of your screen? Tyler Reddick has it, Suarez 2nd, Crafton 3rd. Do they have enough fuel to get to the end? Remember, Matt Crafton went 61 laps at a mile-and-a-half in Texas last year.
Look at Suarez starting to heat up the 19 of Reddick. Has he run behind Reddick all he's going to? Now he's going to go for the win. He dives to the inside and won.
Under 4 laps to go. This is the battle for the race lead, and big-time question marks surrounding these trucks on if they can go the distance on fuel. Eric Jones, who dominated.
We just have to make sure we make it, Daniel. We'll be in trouble if we run out here. Save fuel, buddy. Slowing on the bottom.
But keeping in mind, Suarez is the one that is not running for the championship. If anyone could afford to run out, it's him.
How do you save fuel when you're trying to wrestle the lead away from somebody?
Eric Jones speeding on pit road. It goes to bad to worse for the driver out of Michigan.
Yeah, you can't hardly judge that, no matter how good you are. What about Crafton and Suarez? They've both been drafting off the 19 truck of Tyler Reddick. Reddick started this day in the back of the pack in a backup truck. An amazing performance by that young man.
You know, Brad Keselowski's on the edge of the seat. Reddick's out of gas. There goes Suarez by for the race lead. There'll be 2 laps to go at the start-finish line, and Matt Crafton trying to rally from behind.
We got to make it, Daniel.
You got to keep that 88 behind you. That's what you got to do.
Here's Matt Crafton to the outside. The battle for the race lead is on as they go off of turn 2.
How about Matt Crafton? Could he be the new fuel mileage king?
Crafton on point at Kansas.
I don't understand telling Daniel they got to make it. We got to win is what we got to do.
We'll see the white flag this time around. Crafton at the start-finish line. 1.5 miles to career win number 7.
That's why you got to watch all
I think
the way.
Suarez is out of gas.
Suarez is out of gas, and now Matt Crafton a half a lap away. He could coast home from here.
Nothing out back, Matt. Nothing at all.
He's been the king of the mile and a halfs in his career. Qualified on the front row, but when it mattered, Matt Crafton going to be out front. Off of turn 4, 7th career victory for Crafton going to come at Kansas Speedway.
Some days are lucky, some days are good. Thank you, guys. Damn good job.
Well, you got to give some credit to Matt Crafton as well.
Good job, fuel guys.
You don't do what he did down in Texas with that kind of gas mileage, and then to come back here and be the only top runner to make it, give Matt Crafton a lot of credit.
And you heard Junior Joyner say, good job, fuel guys. They make sure they got that thing full. He had enough to get to the end, and everybody he was racing ran out of gas.
Tyler Reddick ends up 11th unofficially.
He might go down a couple more spots. Suarez is going to make it to the start-finish line. The Camping World 20 to go didn't tell the story. Took all the way to the checkered flag to figure it out.
Matt Crafton, an up-and-down night for him. But when it's all said and done, he gets the checkered flag. Full post-race coverage on the way right now to Jay and Dan in Los Angeles.
Thank you so much, hey NASCAR fans. I'm Jay, that's Dan. This is Fox Sports Live.
That was a crazy finish. Sort of, well, we got Fox Sports Live, sort of. It's next. Much more for NASCAR. We take a tour around Emporia, Kansas. The hometown hero, Clint Boyer.
Plus, we relive Junior's big win at Talladega while sitting shotgun. That's coming up right after these messages. Welcome to Fox Sports Live. I'm Jay. This is my broadcast colleague, Dan. We're going to get you back to Kansas for Victory Lane ceremonies in just seconds.
After that, we're going to take a look back at Dale Jr.'s win in Talladega. Daniel Trotta is she's going to break down the big names who haven't won in the Sprint Cup thus far. And behind-the-scenes look with Clint Boyer in his hometown of Emporia, Kansas.
But first, back to Adam. Adam, what's going on?
I'll tell you what's going on. A celebration for Matt Crafton, who has now won for the 7th time in his career, and he becomes the first driver to get 2 victories at Kansas Speedway in the Camping World Truck Series. Coming into tonight, we had 14 winners and the 14 races here, but no more. Crafton won here 2 years ago, does it again tonight. Our Ram Guts and Glory, the pass for the lead.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez was in a process of trying to save a little bit of fuel with a couple laps to go. Matt Crafton, the fuel mileage king, was able to drive by him and still have enough fuel to do a burnout.
And he got lost on the way to Victory Lane on pit road, had to back up. I think he's still driving around down there with enough gas in that Toyota to win the race.
They said afterwards on the radio, it's better to be lucky than good. Tonight, they were a little bit of both, and that's why they're in Victory Lane, Vince.
It's Matt Crafton's favorite truck. It's the same one he drove to Victory Lane here in his previous victory, and he did it again tonight. It was a nerve-wracking win, fuel mileage. How nerve-wracking was it in those final laps with those other drivers ahead of you?
He told me I couldn't make it, and I'm like, man, when's he going to bring me? And then I saw the 4 run out of gas. I'm like, man, he's going to bring me anytime soon, because he just told me we weren't going to make it on fuel. And I said it's all about we had great triad horsepower, and this is Menard's Toyota Tundra. It was not the winning truck. I mean, we were definitely a second-place truck. I had a really bad vibration on the second set of tires we put on, and then it forced our hand to put 4 on. Then we got stuck back in traffic, and it was tough to get through there. But all in all, like I said, not a bad Menard's Toyota Tundra.
How good's it feel to be in Victory Lane again at Kansas? First time ever, 2-time winner here?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard somebody say that to me before the race, and we got here. So I said 2 times.
Yeah. Well done. And the first time that Thor Sports had all 3 of their trucks in the top 5. Matt Crafton, the winner tonight at Kansas.
A tremendous effort for Matt Crafton, as Vince said, the entire Thor Sport group. And here's what I'm looking at. The change in the championship chase. Coming into tonight, 16 points separating the top 4. Now Matt Crafton with a 17-point lead over second.
Yeah, we know Matt Crafton knows how to win a championship. He went back-to-back the last 2 years. There he is right there with that 17-point lead. They know if you're going to win the championship in the Camping World Truck Series, you're going to have to beat Matt Crafton to do it.
Well, he's a picture of a points racer. He's steady. He's consistent. Just like he said tonight, he didn't have the winning truck, but he put that truck in a position when others had problems to capitalize. He drafted his way to this victory. He saved just enough fuel to win this race, something that no other driver was able to do.
Huge disappointment tonight for Tyler Reddick. You talked about it late in the race, Michael. The ability to go to a backup truck, have no laps on it, come out, run for the win, ends up finishing in the 13th position after running out of fuel. Let's go back downstairs to Vince.
What a run from Ryan Newman tonight. Had that uncontrolled tire penalty. Had to go to the back, race your way back up, finish second. How fun was it tonight?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. We were really loose that last run and finally got tighter there towards the end. We got to thank the Nemechek family and Chevrolet and everybody for the opportunity to do this. And it was fun. I mean, we got a bunch of free ones there at the end, but we were just too loose for too long. The tire deal hurt us, no doubt, but if we'd have been a little bit faster, if we'd had the truck from the previous run at the end, would have been in pretty good shape.
Good to see Ryan Newman in the 8 tonight. They finished second.
And this is a team, Vince, that had so much success a year ago with Joe Nemechek sharing the ride with John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter less than a month away from his 18th birthday, starting at Kentucky in July. We'll see him behind the wheel of the 8 the rest of the year.
What a battle for Timothy Peters. He couldn't hardly hold on to that truck early in the race. Comes home with a top 5 finish along with Cameron Haley, the young Canadian we talked to before the race. Got his first top 5 finish, career best.
Justin Boston with a great job finishing 7th.
Eric Jones ends up in the 11th position after leading tonight 151 laps.
Career best for Wendell Chavis. Great run for him. Norm Benning hung in there, got a 24th spot.
Tough break for Ray Black Jr. Had a top lead lap finish going there. Lost an engine late.
Saw Brandon Jones crash out early, running in the top 5. Tough result for that young man.
Yeah, a tough night for Eric Jones, who was so good. Had the dominating truck, had him covered, but ran out of gas with less than 5 laps to go. Shaking it back and forth down the back straightaway. Came down pit road, cooled off in the garage, and now he's with Hermie Sadler.
Well, it's got to be a frustrating event for Eric Jones. 151 laps led. You run out of fuel, your emotions.
Yeah, man, it just sucks. We had by far the best truck. I mean, we were up to an 11-second lead at one point. It's just so terrible for these guys when we bring that fast of a truck, and we can't bring the win home. I don't know. I saved as much as I could. Most of the run, the 19 made us run pretty hard, but being 8 laps short, I don't know how the 88 made it, but, you know, it's just too bad. We'll have to bring another fast truck, though, next weekend to Charlotte, and we'll go get a win there.
That's Eric Jones, very disappointed after dominating this race tonight.
The next time you'll see Eric Jones behind the wheel in the truck, as he said, next Friday night at Charlotte. But he will take some of that anger and frustration, no doubt, to tomorrow's Sprint Cup Series race. He's going to start in the 12th position, filling in for Kyle Busch.
Well, he had the fastest car in that final practice session. Amazing result for that young man in that Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota team. But also, Phil, more impressive than that, he had the fastest 10-lap average over some of the top stars in the sport. So not only is he fast for a lap or two, which you could expect that out of a kid like Eric Jones, he's fast for the long run, too. That'll be a great story to follow tomorrow night.
And we saw how disappointed he was. And he's supposed to be disappointed to dominate a race like he did, but at the end of the day, Matt Crafton has shown us that he knows how to get fuel mileage. He did it Texas last year, and he did it again here tonight.
You know what I love about Matt Crafton? He's making Eric Jones scratch his head and wonder how he could do that. That's what champions do. They do things a lot of times that you don't see coming.
And he's put himself in a great position to win an unprecedented 3rd consecutive championship in the Camping World Truck Series. He will be the guy everybody is chasing when we get to Charlotte next Friday night. And oh, by the way, Matt Crafton's first career victory came at Charlotte Motor Speedway many years ago. Let's go back to Los Angeles and Jay and Dan.